Chapter 225. Xiao Qin took a deep breath and shook his head. Xie Fei's appearance was very tempting, but Xiao Qin didn't have the idea of turning into a werewolf. He turned around and walked out of the villa quickly. At present he and Xie Fei were just acquaintances. If they took a step further, his relationship with the Xie family would be unclear. Xiao Qin was very clear that the Xie family wanted to use him to get rid of the Wang family, but the Xie family really overestimated him. Xiao Qin knew his own strength. Now dealing with the Wang family was completely a trick. If it was a real fight, Xiao Qin wasn't an opponent at all. Seeing Xiao Qin leave, Xie Fei's breathing immediately became rapid, and she quickly ran upstairs. Xiao Qin didn't drive this car back to the villa. After all, this car was snatched from the Wang family. The identity of the white fox didn't matter, but Xiao Qin still wanted to keep a low profile. While the Wang family ignored Xiao Qin's problem, he was going to dispose of the car. After thinking about it, there was no suitable way to deal with it. This car wasn't worth much. Even if it was a second-hand car with legal procedures, it could only be sold for tens of thousands of yuan, let alone a black car. It was 10 or 20,000 yuan. Xiao Qin was too lazy to deal with it. He directly broke the car's license plate and threw away the car's license. Then he called Qin Jinping. "Boss Xiao Qin? Are you looking for me?" Qin Jinping received a call from Xiao Qin and was a little surprised. "Little Shed, where are you?" asked Xiao Qin. "At school. What's wrong?" Qin Jingshan lived on campus, so Qin Jinping also chose to live on campus recently. He wanted to have dinner with Qin Jingshan at night, but Qin Jinping could clearly feel that Qin Jingshan was still indifferent to him. "Come here. I'll give you a car," said Xiao Qin. "Ah, give me a car?" Qin Jinping was stunned. Xiao Qin is so kind to give me a car? Is this possible? It's good enough that he didn't cheat me of my car. Why does it feel a little unrealistic to give it to me? Do you want it? If not, I'll give it to someone else. The car is quite good. It costs more than 100,000 yuan, said Xiao Qin. Are you really going to give it to me? Qin Jinping still didn't quite believe it. Are you kidding me? Are you going to give it to me and then ask me for money? I'm your boss. What's wrong with giving you a car? Have I not given you enough things in the past? Xiao Qin retorted. That's true. However, the past is different from the present. Is Jean Bebe beside you? Qin Jinping asked. I'm not here. Do you want it or not? Xiao Qin was getting impatient. Yes, yes. Qin Jinping heaved a sigh of relief when he heard that Jean Bebe wasn't here. As long as Jean Bebe wasn't here, it was still reliable. So he said, Where are you? I'll go to you right now. The villa area. Come to my house, said Xiao Qin. Okay. I'll call a taxi now. Qin Jinping answered quickly. Qin Jinping had just sent Qin Jingshan away and was about to send Xiao Yuliang to the parking lot when he received Xiao Qin's call. Xiao Qin wants to give you a car? Xiao Yuliang also felt that it was a little weird. Xiao Qin is so poor. How can he give you a car? I'm a bit confused too. He is so greedy and greedy. How can he give me a car worth more than 100,000 yuan? Did the sun rise from the west? Qin Jinping still found it hard to believe. Why don't you go? Just like Jean Bebe, the boy is full of tricks. Li Shaning will be back soon. Don't cause any trouble, reminded Xiao Yuliang. I'll go and take a look. If it doesn't work, I don't want it. I don't have any money with me. Can he detain me there? Qin Jinping was reluctant to give up the car. He had never dared to buy a car because he was afraid that Jean Bebe would scam him again. However, the shabby van was too lousy. He did not want to buy it anymore. This time, Xiao Qin had given him a car. He believed that Jean Bebe would not scam him back. So, it would be a waste if he did not accept it. Thinking for a moment, Xiao Yuliang said, Fine. You don't have to call a taxi. I'll go home later. I'll drive you there to take a look first. Then you can adapt to the situation. He knew that Qin Jinping had been scared of being scammed recently and did not dare buy a car on his own anymore. Now that he had a free car, he would certainly want it. At the very least, since it was a gift from Xiao Qin, he could not scam him back. That would be meaningless. If Xiao Qin did not want to give it to him, he could simply not give it to him. There was no need to scam him back. The two of them arrived at the villa district. At the entrance of Xiao Qin's house, they saw Xiao Qin alighting from a black Volkswagen. Then he casually tossed the car key to Qin Jinping and said, This is a black car, so there's no registration. Think of a way to get a fake one. I'm heading back. Ha. Qin Jinping immediately found it hard to believe. He gave it to him just like that? Without any additional conditions? However, seeing that Xiao Qin had already turned around and entered the villa, Qin Jinping rubbed his eyes. He could not help but wonder if he had misunderstood. Was Xiaoqin a good person? He had been spoiled by Jean Bebe before. Now that he was alone, he had regained his generous personality when he was a boss? Of course, Qin Jinping only thought about it and did not dare to take it lightly. He walked to the car carefully and checked it. He did not find any problem. After he got in the car and started it, everything was normal. This made him even more puzzled. Did he really give it to me? Let's go. It seems that he has really given it to you. Zhao Yuliang shook his head. He also could not figure out Xiaoqian's intention. Could it be that he had too many good cars and was not interested in an ordinary car of this level? Zhao Yuliang drove the car in the front while Qin Jinping drove behind. He did not find anything. Previously, Qin Jinping even wondered if Xiaoqin would install a bomb in the car and blow him up. But now it seemed that he had really gauged the heart of a gentleman with his own mean measure. As for whether the car was registered or not, Qin Jinping did not care at all. The Qin family had so many businesses and they also had cars of this model. He just needed to go through a set of procedures. Who would be able to check it carefully? Xiaoqin returned to the villa. Qing Minjing was watching TV in the living room. Seeing Xiaoqin, Qing Minjing curled her lips. The big hero is back? No wonder you are my servant. You even know how to play the hero and save the damsel in distress. Xiaoqin could not help but be stunned. He did not know if Qing Minjing had said something good or bad. He could only laugh dryly and said, "It's okay. Where is Bebe?" Bebe is not here. She only comes on the weekends. She usually stays at home. Qing Minjing did not mention the topic of the hero saving the damsel in distress again. Instead she said, "I am hungry. You go and get something to eat." Okay. Xiaoqin nodded and went to the kitchen. Yi Xiaoya was busy in the kitchen. When she saw Xiaoqin come in, she glanced at him and said faintly, "Such a difficult woman, and you still want to be with her every day. Do you have any backbone? If it were me, I would have left long ago. You speak with innuendo. I don't know what is going on." "Who are you talking about?" Qing Minjing's ears were sharp. She heard Yi Xiaoya's murmur immediately. She sat up from the sofa and rushed to the kitchen. "He is my servant. Do you need to care about him? Are you envious and jealous? Do you like Xiaoqin and are envious that he's my servant?" "Yes." Yi Xiaoya said faintly, "Xiaoqin, why don't you follow me? It is definitely better than following her." Xiaoqin was slightly stunned. At this moment he was a little tempted. He was not tempted by Yi Xiaoya, but he was tempted by the freshness boxes in Yi Xiaoya's refrigerator. Kuji fruit money. If I follow Yi Xiaoya, will I get them for free? Looking at Xiaoqin, she was a little absent-minded for a moment. Qing Minjing was angry. "I usually treat you well, right? Why are you going to abandon me after Yi Xiaoya provoked you? You really let me down." "Xiaoqin, you say, who are you following?" Qing Minjing was so angry with Yi Xiaoya that she vented her anger on Xiaoqin. "Sweat, of course I am following you. You are my miss." Xiaoqin said quickly and simply. This made Qing Minjing suddenly happy again. She stared at Yi Xiaoya proudly. "How about it? Some people's sugar-coated bullets are useless. This lady's servant has a firm stand." "Tisk, maybe you have something on Xiaoqin, so he has to follow you." Yi Xiaoya snorted and said disdainfully. "You." This sentence seemed to step on Qing Minjing's tail, making her a little angry. What Yi Xiaoya said was really right. Xiaoqin had to be my servant now. If he didn't be my servant, he might be tortured by the Qing family. Although in a sense this wasn't my fault, what Yi Xiaoya said was true. Xiaoqin's weakness was held by me, or by the Qing family. I guessed it right? Yi Xiaoya rolled her eyes. "You only have this little ability. Forget it. I don't want to talk to you anymore. It's boring." "Who wants to talk to you?" Qing Minjing ran upstairs angrily. "Xiaoqin, I don't want to eat anymore. I'm full. But if you care about your miss, send her a bowl of instant noodles upstairs. You don't have hands and you don't even know how to make noodles. Without Xiaoqin, I think you will probably starve to death," Yi Xiaoya said casually. Qing Minjing was almost driven mad. She turned around and glared at Yi Xiaoya, only to discover miserably that Yi Xiaoya did not look at her at all. This made Qing Minjing feel a sense of powerlessness and frustration. She had never won a fight with Yi Xiaoya, but if Jean Bebe came, Yi Xiaoya would be put down with only a few words. Jean Bebe was truly good at dealing with all kinds of disagreements. Knowing that she was no match for Jean Bebe, Qing Minjing did not say anything else. She was so angry that she went upstairs quickly, planning to complain to Jean Bebe and ask her to deal with Yi Xiaoya for her help next Saturday. "Yi Xiaoya, is it fun to bicker with a miss? In fact, Minjing is a nice person. Xiaoqin said with a bitter smile. Chapter 226. One was a young lady and the other was a close teammate. Xiaoqin really couldn't help them. Only you think she's good. Yi Xiaoye snorted. By the way, can you lend me that dog of yours to study? I have been observing it for a few days. This dog doesn't seem to be an ordinary dog. Lend it to you for research? It's not an ordinary dog? Xiaoqin was slightly stunned. There had been too many things recently. Other than giving leftovers to the native dog every day, Xiaoqin really neglected it. However, at this moment, listening to Yi Xiaoye, Xiaoqin suddenly remembered the strange feeling he had when he first saw this dog. You don't really think it's a native dog, do you? Yi Xiaoye was a little surprised to see Xiaoqin in a daze. With Cheng Minjing's family background, getting a native dog to raise? This doesn't seem too realistic. Therefore, Yi Xiaoye thought that Cheng Minjing found something, so she took in this dog, but now it seemed that it wasn't the case. According to my judgment as a prospective martial artist, there is something wrong with this dog. It seems to have a sense of familiarity with me. Xiaoqin didn't hide it. At the same time, he was also testing how much Yi Xiaoye knew. You're not a demon. When Yi Xiaoye said this, she suddenly stopped talking and said, You're not a martial artist, but you can actually sense it. It's really strange. I have the same feeling. Xiaoqin smiled secretly. Demonic cultivator? It turned out that only demonic cultivators could sense it. As for martial artists, Xiaoqin didn't think that there was any difference between martial artists and this dog. After all, martial artists relied on strength, not energy. Really? Then you go and study it but don't ruin it. Xiaoqin said calmly, Tell me the results of your research. All right, then I won't stand on ceremony. Yi Xiaoye went out to catch the native dog and prepared to go upstairs. Looking at her, it was as if she was going to kill the dog and eat its meat. This made Xiaoqin a little speechless. Xiaoqin made 10,000 bowls of instant noodles for Missy and went upstairs to deliver it. At the door of Missy's room, Xiaoqin hesitated for a moment. He didn't push the door open but knocked on it. Xiaoqin? Come in. Cheng Minjing's voice sounded. Xiaoqin pushed the door open and entered, only to see the young mistress sprawled on the bed, playing with her tablet computer. Her 2 legs were raised in the air, and her fair little feet were swaying back and forth, causing Xiaoqin to feel a little dizzy. Although he didn't have any foot fetishes, everyone loved beauty. Xiaoqin merely admired and yearned for beautiful things. I want to reach out and grab it. Xiaoqin just thought about it. He didn't dare to do it. He was afraid that Missy would kick him out directly. The noodles are ready. Where should I put it for you? Asked Xiaoqin. Cheng Minjing opened her mouth. Her hands were playing with the tablet game. She couldn't free them. Xiaoqin was a little helpless. He walked over and watched Missy's slender fingers sliding on the tablet computer. He couldn't help but think Missy's hands are quite flexible. Her left and right hands can actually do different actions. Would it be cool? However, Xiaoqin didn't dare to think too dirty. He picked up the fork and forked some noodles into Missy's mouth. So Cheng Minjing ate and played games. Soon, a bowl of noodles was finished and Cheng Minjing's game was over. She looked up. She was a little thirsty, so she said to Xiaoqin, Give me some soup. Xiaoqin picked up the bucket of noodles and sent it to Cheng Minjing's mouth. He raised it. However, Xiaoqin's estimation was wrong. Missy's mouth was small. Xiaoqin estimated it based on the speed at which he drank the soup. As a result, the noodle soup splashed all over Missy. The noodle soup was all over her pajamas and it was a little hot. Cheng Minjing suddenly exclaimed. I'm sorry. Xiaoqin was a little embarrassed. He subconsciously reached out to help Missy wipe it. As a result, Xiaoqin grabbed a ball of soft stuff. There seemed to be a small protrusion at the front. Felt really good. What is this? Xiaoqin pinched it twice and suddenly felt the temperature in the room drop suddenly. It became a little cold. Then Xiaoqin saw a footstep on his face and kicked him off the bed. Ah! Cheng Minjing exclaimed, I'm going to kill you. Xiaoqin's head hit the floor with a bang. The sound was as loud as it could be. Then Xiaoqin fainted directly. In fact, Xiaoqin did it on purpose. He had already realized what he was grabbing. Although he didn't have time to enjoy and savor it, he knew that his death wasn't far away. Never mind now, even if he was her fiancé in the past, grabbing Cheng Minjing like this definitely wouldn't end well, let alone now. Therefore, in order to avoid responsibility, Xiaoqin directly pretended to fall head first and fainted, directly on the floor. Of course, with the strength of a cultivator, holding his breath was very easy. He just needed to convert his own vitality into oxygen to supply himself. Therefore, Xiaoqin directly pretended to be dead. Hearing this loud noise, Cheng Minjing was suddenly shocked. She couldn't care less about her shame and anger. She quickly climbed up from the bed and looked at Xiaoqin, who was under the bed. She saw Xiaoqin closing his eyes and not moving. Cheng Minjing was suddenly frightened. His head hit the ground. How could he recover? Even if he didn't die from the fall, he would at least have a concussion, right? Cheng Minjing didn't feel that she used much strength, but under the urgency just now, she probably used all her strength. Although she wasn't a martial artist, she had trained when she was a child. Her strength was much greater than the average girl. Xiaoqin's body was weak and he took medicine all day. If he was kicked off by her by surprise, wouldn't there be any problems? But, humph, who asked you to take advantage of me? You deserve to fall to death. When the Xiao family comes looking for you, just say so. But, Cheng Minjing thought about it. She still jumped off the bed and quickly checked Xiaoqin's breath. However, after a test, Cheng Minjing was directly scared and sat on Xiaoqin's body. Xiaoqin was sat on by Cheng Minjing. Although he felt it was very exciting, Cheng Minjing's whole body weight was on his stomach. He almost vomited. Luckily I have trained before. Otherwise, wouldn't I vomit blood from being sat on by you? However, Xiaoqin was still very cooperative. He used his vitality to convert a mouthful of blood, and Xiaoqin spat it out directly. Yeah. Cheng Minjing was even more scared out of her wits. Xiaoqin was already out of breath from the fall. In the end, he vomited blood from sitting on me. What should I do? Xiaoqin can't really die. Hey Xiaoqin, wake up. What's wrong with you? Don't scare me. Xiaoqin didn't move. How can I move? Won't I be looking for a scolding if I get up? It's better to pretend to be dead. Xiaoqin, you wake up. Cheng Minjing shook Xiaoqin's shoulder subconsciously. That, you can touch it if you want. You just need to be alive. Hearing what his mistress said, Xiaoqin's heart skipped a beat. However, he knew that Cheng Minjing said that in a moment of desperation. If he really touched it when he was awake, he would probably be dead. Seeing that Xiaoqin had no reaction at all, Cheng Minjing was immediately anxious. She picked up the phone and dialed Jean Bei's number. Well, Cousin Minjing, what are you doing? Jean Bei's drowsy voice came over. Bei, where are you? Come here. Cheng Minjing said in a hurry. I'm sleeping. What are you doing here? Jean Bei asked sleepily. Xiaoqin seems to have been kicked to death, or sat to death. Cheng Minjing didn't know when Xiaoqin died either. Or he's not dead yet. Do you have any life-prolonging pills? Give them to me now. My cousin-in-law is dead? Jean Bei was shocked and immediately woke up. Wait for me, Cousin Minjing. I'll fly there. Jean Bei hung up the phone and directly picked up a small pill bottle in the room, which contained the life-prolonging pill that old Master Jean gave her. She quickly went downstairs, drove her nouveau riche and sped to Cheng Minjing's villa. On the way, Jean Bei dialed Cheng Minjing's number again with Bluetooth. Cousin, I'll be there soon. Tell me what exactly happened. What do you mean by, my cousin-in-law was kicked to death and sat to death? It's, on the bed I kicked him and kicked him to the ground. Then with a thud I sat on him and made him vomit blood. He stopped breathing. Cheng Minjing didn't explain the cause, she only explained the aftermath. What? Jean Bei was immediately stunned. Cousin Minjing, are you playing SM? SM? Cheng Minjing was dazed for a moment. Then she sneered, Bei, don't talk nonsense. Do you know the situation? Then why did you play on the bed? You kicked and sat on him. Cousin Minjing, just admit it. Jean Bei said with a smile, I know that you are proud and like a queen. It's perfectly normal that you like SM. Besides, Xiaoqin is your slave in the first place. What nonsense are you talking about? Jean Bei, Xiaoqin is about to die and you are still in the mood to joke? Cheng Minjing said angrily. After hearing Cheng Minjing's story, Jean Bei did not believe that Xiaoqin could be dead. Don't worry. My cousin-in-law is a transformer. How could he die? That was a joke. How hard could Cheng Minjing's kick be? Even if she tried her best to sit on Xiaoqin's body, how hard could it be? Her cousin-in-law was an expert at catching sharks. If he were to die so easily, he would have been dead a long time ago. Therefore, Jean Bei felt that there must be more to it than meets the eye, except that Cheng Minjing did not mention it. What transformer? Come and take a look. Cheng Minjing was not in the mood to talk to Jean Bei. Cousin Minjing, why is my cousin-in-law on your bed? Is there something that you haven't told Bei? Jean Bei asked curiously. I wanted to eat instant noodles, so I asked your cousin-in-law to feed me. In the end, he spilled the noodle soup on my chest. I was angry, so I kicked him? Cheng Minjing said. In her anxiety, she had already confused her cousin-in-law. Chapter 227. So, you admit that Xiao Chen is your cousin-in-law? Jean Bebe said mischievously. Did you spill it on your chest? Did he wipe it off for you? Cheng Minjing didn't explain that he was her cousin-in-law. She only said, he rubbed it. That's why I kicked him subconsciously. That explains a lot. Jean Bebe rolled her big mischievous eyes and confirmed something in her mind. What are you talking about? Bebe, where are you now? Cheng Minjing was very anxious. She felt that Bebe thought she was joking. In fact, Xiao Chen was really going to die. I'll be there soon, Jean Bebe said. Okay. I'll wait for you, Cheng Minjing said. As expected, after a short while, the sound of a car came from the yard of the villa. Then, the sound of the door opening and people going upstairs could be heard. Jean Bebe had the key to the villa. Therefore, she ran all the way to Cheng Minjing's room. Cousin Minjing, I'm here. Jean Bebe said in relief when she saw Xiao Chen on the ground the moment she entered the room. Bebe, have you brought the life-prolonging pill I asked you to? Cheng Minjing asked. Yes. However, I have a unique skill to treat my cousin-in-law. Jean Bebe glanced at Xiao Chen and said mischievously. Unique skill? Cheng Minjing was confused. What unique skill? Cousin-in-law, here comes Bebe's boob push. As Jean Bebe spoke, she was about to lie on Xiao Chen's body. Hey Bebe, what's wrong with you? Xiao Chen is already dying. If you press him like this, won't he be crushed to death? Cheng Minjing grabbed Jean Bebe and stopped her from hitting Xiao Chen. Don't worry, Cousin Minjing. Jean Bebe said with a smile. Cousin-in-law, I'm here. Oh. Helpless, Xiao Chen had no choice but to get up from the ground. Although Jean Bebe's words sounded cool, Master Jean was looking for a son-in-law. If he took advantage of Jean Bebe, the unreasonable gold fur Lion King would definitely force him to take responsibility. Then he would be screwed. Although Xiao Chen had taken a liking to Jean Bebe recently, he could not marry her just because he liked her. Wouldn't that be giving up the whole forest for a flower? Under Cheng Minjing's astonished gaze, Xiao Chen jumped up from the ground and quickly slipped towards the door. I seem to have fallen asleep just now. My head is so dizzy. What happened? Why can't I remember anything? Sai, what am I doing here? After saying that, Xiao Chen pushed the door open and slipped away, leaving Cheng Minjing who was dumbfounded and Jean Bebe who was smiling in understanding. Xiao Chen, come back here right now. Cheng Minjing suddenly realized that she had been fooled by Xiao Chen. Then, when she said that she could touch Xiao Chen as long as he came back to life, didn't he hear it too? I'm so angry. How dare you fool me and play dead after touching me? Do you think I'm a pushover? Alright, Cousin Minjing, it was just an accident. Besides, I played dead because he cared about you. If it were somebody else, he would have touched you. Why would he be so scared of your anger? Jean Bebe, however, said. Is that so? Cheng Minjing was somewhat happy to hear that Xiao Chen cared about her. You finally know how good I am. Touch me. Let's see if you can still flirt with other women. Jean Bebe nodded. Yes. Chances are that my cousin-in-law will ask to remarry me after he returns to the Xiao family. If he wants to remarry me, he can do it. I haven't agreed to it yet. Cheng Minjing snorted. She couldn't help but feel proud. If Xiao Chen asked her to remarry him, it would be a great honor for him. He didn't know how to cherish it before. Be careful not to let Tang Tang take advantage of it, Jean Bebe reminded her. What about you? Cheng Minjing suddenly asked. Don't you like Xiao Chen too? Me? Cousin Minjing, you can just let me have some soup. I just like to hang out with my cousin-in-law. He suits my taste. In fact, Jean Bebe was mainly with Xiao Chen for fun. Screw you. You want to be his concubine? Cheng Minjing rolled her eyes at Jean Bebe. Cousin Minjing, you can't be so stingy, right? You don't even want to share your best sister and best friend? Jean Bebe said with a smile. Suit yourself. But I haven't promised Xiao Chen yet. I don't like him at all. I hate him more than anything. So, you don't have a chance. Cheng Minjing said with a smile. It was getting late. Jean Bebe decided not to go back after coming here. They chatted and laughed for a while and then went to bed ready to sleep. Xiao Chen, on the other hand, sneaked back to his room quickly and started decocting the medicinal materials. Today was the last course of treatment for this medicine. He would go to buy more medicine tomorrow. However, Xiao Chen still had more than 2 million left from last time. Together with the 10 million that concubine Xie gave him, he had more than enough money to buy the medicinal materials. There was no need to worry about it. However, he had not made a breakthrough after such a long time. Xiao Chen was a bit worried about the old witch of West Mountain who was about to fight with him. He had thought that he could make a breakthrough to the 5th level of the qi refining stage, but now it seemed that his wish was a bit slim. After the medicinal materials were decocted properly, Xiaoqun took them and started to practice. However, the result was still regrettable. He still did not make a breakthrough. This made Xiaoqun disappointed, but at the same time he was also a little puzzled. Could it be that there was something wrong with his cultivation? Why was it that he could break through very quickly in the past, but only when he was between the 4th and 5th layer of the qi refining stage he could not break through? He had taken several sets of medicinal materials. If it was in the past, he should have made a breakthrough long ago, right? After exercising and sweating, Xiaoqun did not make a breakthrough, so he went to the bathroom to take a shower. However, when Xiaoqun was applying bath lotion on his body, Xiaoqun's hand inadvertently scratched a jade pendant worn on his neck. The jade pendant actually fell from the red string. Moreover, when Xiaoqun pressed it, it broke into pieces. Xiaoqun was suddenly stunned. What is this situation? This jade pendant was a very good piece of top-quality jade. When Xiaoqun was young, second uncle brought it back when he went out to perform a trial mission. Since then Xiaoqun had been wearing it. Although there was no practical commemorative significance, he heard that a good jade pendant was good for the body. So Xiaoqun had never taken it off. However, how could such a high-quality jade pendant fall to the ground and break into pieces with just a light pressure? How is this possible? Could it be that Qing Minjing kicked or sat on it before and broke it? Or Xin Jingshen sat on it and broke it? Xiaoqun realized that these pretty girls all liked to sit on people's seats. Of course, Xiaoqun was just thinking about it casually. It was impossible for them to break it. The jade pendant was hard. It was impossible for them to break it with their strength. Even if this jade pendant did not have any commemorative value, Xiaoqun still felt a little heartache when an expensive jade pendant was broken. If this jade pendant were to be sold, it would fetch at least a few million. Spiritual jade? In Xiaoqun's ears, there was suddenly a surprised voice from Elder Heaven Ancestor. You actually have spiritual jade? Spiritual jade? What is that? Xiaoqun was slightly startled and asked. The formation of jade is very complicated. However, from the perspective of cultivation, it can be said that jade is nurtured by the essence of heaven and earth for thousands, tens of thousands, or even hundreds of millions of years. The longer the time, the more spiritual energy in the jade. This kind of jade with high spiritual energy is called spiritual jade. Elder Heaven Ancestor did not hide it and explained directly. Nowadays, most of the time of formation of jade is relatively short. The amount of spiritual energy in the jade is too little, so it can only be called ordinary jade. Then this jade pendant of mine is spiritual jade? Xiaoqun roughly understood what Elder Heaven Ancestor meant. Yes, now I finally understand why your cultivation speed is so fast. Elder Sky said, even if you are a genius and have a special mantra, it is impossible for you to cultivate so fast. Now it is easy to explain. That is, you have spirit jades on you. Spirit jades are the best materials to assist in cultivation. Cultivators can absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth from them and transform it into their own energy, which is commonly known as true qi. Then my cultivation speed has slowed down recently because the energy in the spiritual jade has been used up. Xiaoqun was a little depressed. Previously, he thought that he was a genius that only appeared once in 10,000 years. In the end, it turned out that it was because he had the spiritual jade to help him cultivate. Now that the spiritual energy in the jade had been used up, he could not continue to break through. It is like this. Elder Heaven Ancestor said with certainty. However, even with the help of the spiritual jade, your cultivation speed is still fast enough. You do not need to be disappointed. Alright, then what should I do next? Get another spiritual jade? After listening to Elder Heaven Ancestor's advice, Xiaoqun was full of confidence. Where? Elder Heaven Ancestor asked. Jewelry auction. Xiaoqun said, as long as the quality and appearance of the jade are of the highest quality, it will be fine. Yes, but spiritual jade is something that can only be found by chance. It does not necessarily have to be of good quality. Good appearance jade is spiritual jade, but spiritual jade must have good quality and good appearance. Elder Sky said, the jade that has been formed for a short period of time may also be of good quality, and the jade produced in the same mining area may not be formed in the same era, so this thing is almost the same as trying to get lucky. Xiaoqun was slightly surprised and asked, that is similar. How do I distinguish it? Use your hands. Elder Sky said, with your current strength, you won't be able to distinguish it with your eyes and perception. You can only use your hands to sense if there is heaven and earth spiritual qi inside. This is a cultivator's instinct. I don't need to teach you. You'll know when you try. So that is the case. Then I will go research and buy some spiritual jade tomorrow. Xiao Qin found his bottleneck and was very happy. If he had enough spiritual jade, would he be able to quickly upgrade? Chapter 228. One piece of spiritual jade could upgrade 4 times, then 10 pieces of spiritual jade. Xiao Qin was daydreaming, but his thoughts were interrupted by the Elder Heaven Ancestor. What are you thinking about? How can the amount of heaven and earth spiritual chi you absorb in the first level of chi refining stage be the same as that of a 5th level chi refining stage? If you get another piece of spiritual jade, it would be good if you can break through to the 5th level chi refining stage. Moreover, do you think that every spiritual jade is the same as your jade pendant? Xiao Qin listened to the words of the Elder Heaven Ancestor, and suddenly smiled bitterly as if a bucket of cold water had been poured on him, and he suddenly returned to reality from his fantasy. Then, I'll see if I can buy it first. Xiao Qin sighed. It seemed that his previous thoughts were a bit unrealistic, but the road of cultivation was simply burning money. It was not a lie that the 3 generations of cultivation were poor, not to mention the cost of the medicinal herbs. Just the spiritual jade alone was not something that ordinary people could afford. Although the top-quality jade stone might not necessarily be spiritual jade, but the spiritual jade was definitely a top-quality jade stone. You can look at it, but you can't stop your medicinal herbs, you must continue to take them. You have stopped for a day, so the effect is a bit weaker. Cultivation is like rowing a boat against the current. If you don't move forward, you will fall back. The Elder Heaven Ancestor reminded. I understand. Xiao Qin nodded. It was almost time. Xiao Qin washed up and went to the morning street. A new day had begun. Kerlin's feelings toward Xiao Qin were very complicated. On one hand, she was a bit afraid of Xiao Qin, this hedonistic young master who did not care about human life at all. On the other hand, Kerlin was deeply grateful to Xiao Qin. If it was not for Xiao Qin, her innocence would have been ruined. Kerlin could not imagine, after being humiliated, whether she still had the courage to live. Kerlin woke up a little later than usual today, probably because she was frightened yesterday. Her parents had already gone to the morning market, but considering that she had been kidnapped, it was normal for her to sleep a lot. Kerlin crawled out of bed in a daze. She packed up and was about to rush to the morning street when a van stopped in front of her house. Today was Sun Rongqing's first day in power. He was very excited. In the past, although he was the eldest grandson of the Sun family, he was an illegitimate child. Sun Yuming recognized him later, so his position in the Sun family had always been awkward. The eldest grandson was not as good as Sun Rongjing. After all, Sun Rongjing was a direct descendant of the Sun family, and Old Master Sun had been nurturing Sun Rongjing in the past. After all, Sun Rongqing hadn't been recognized outside, so Old Master Sun didn't pay much attention to him. Moreover, even if he came back, Old Man Sun didn't care too much. He still cultivated Sun Rongjing. This made Sun Rongqing very unhappy, but he couldn't do anything about it. Who asked him to be born in a bad family? His mother was just a feet-washing girl in a nightclub. With this kind of background, he was lucky that he was a boy. If it was a girl, she probably wouldn't have the chance. However, all of this was in the past. He was finally awesome because his 2 younger brothers were too young. Even if he couldn't take over as the head of the Sun family in the future, he had already taken over the business of the Sun family and the Warrior Guild. When the time came, he would definitely be an important figure in the Sun family. Where's the woman that my dead brother caught yesterday? Sun Rongqing was a little excited as he sat in the van. This van was transporting the medicinal herbs to the Warrior Guild. In a while, when the Warrior Guild opened, he would go look for Medicine Master Sun with red hair. He believed that with Medicine Master Sun as a mole, this batch of medicinal herbs would all be taken by the Warrior Guild without any accidents. She ran away. After such a big incident yesterday, I didn't have the mood to care about that woman. I heard from young Master Jin's follower, Duo, that she ran away. Red Hair said flatteringly, haha, but that's because young Master Jin didn't have the fortune to enjoy it. That little girl, TSK, that small figure, TSK, I really have nothing to say. Is that so? Sun Rongqing was a little tempted after hearing this. He had always been enduring in the Sun family. Whatever Sun Rongjing had, he wanted to have too. However, he knew that it was temporarily impossible. Now that he was in a higher position, he also wanted to have the woman that Sun Rongjing wanted. This was actually a kind of almost perverted jealousy. It wasn't that he lacked a woman. It's still early now. Why don't we catch that little girl and find a forest near the Warrior Guild? It's just the right time for me to have some fun. Sure. Red Hair immediately nodded and said, I know where that little girl's house is. I'll bring young Master Qin to catch her. Okay. Sun Rongqing nodded. Red Hair was secretly happy. He purposely lured Sun Rongqing in this direction. Actually, even if Sun Rongqing didn't take the initiative to ask, he would find an excuse to mention Kerlin. But now it saved him a lot of trouble. In the end, Red Hair's car directly blocked the door of Kerlin's house. Once Kerlin went out, she was caught in the car. She was really unlucky to be kidnapped for 2 consecutive days. Xiao Chen was frying youtiao on the morning street when he received a call from CFA. "Hello, what's the situation?" Xiao Chen asked. "I didn't expect the Sun family's reaction to be so fast." They asked Sun Rongqing to send the medicinal ingredients to the warriors' market early in the morning. "If we let them get ahead of us, then our Xia family's medicinal ingredients will be left with more than half of the unqualified ones," CFA said with some worry. "Then what you mean is for me to stop him on the way to the Warriors Guild?" Xiao Chen thought for a while and asked. "That would be best, but wouldn't it be too troublesome?" CFA hesitated for a while and asked. "Of course, it won't be troublesome if I take someone's money to get rid of a disaster." Xiao Chen smiled and said, "All right, I'll stop him. And then I'll have to trouble you." Sun Rongqing is driving a big van, and the car number is Song EXXXXX. CFA didn't expect Xiao Chen to agree so readily, which made her feel relieved. The Xia family received a report from their informant this morning that Sun Rongqing brought a car full of medicinal ingredients to the warriors' market early in the morning, which made the Xia family very worried. However, the Xia family couldn't do anything. Xia Chaonan could only pin his hopes on CFA and the relationship between CFA and Xiao Chen. He hoped that CFA could persuade the White Fox hero to stop Sun Rongqing early in the morning. In fact, CFA was also a little nervous. After all, Sun Rongqing was on the way to the Warriors Guild. It seemed a little too rushed to ask the White Fox hero to stop him. She didn't know if he could make it in time. However, there was no other way. CFA took the attitude of giving it a try and dialed Xiao Chen's number. Xiao Chen hung up the phone and said to Tang Tang, "Tang Tang, there's something on my friend's side. I have to go first. Is your side okay?" Xiao Chen was a little apologetic. He was focused on making money here, but he left Tang Tang behind. "Of course it's okay. If you have something to do, go ahead. I used to sell it myself, so it's not a big deal." Tang Tang waved her hand and said indifferently, "All right, then I'll go first." Xiao Chen nodded. After saying goodbye to Tang Tang, Xiao Chen quickly left the morning street and went in the direction of the Warriors Guild. Xiao Chen ran all the way to the Warriors Guild. When he found a place where there was no one, Xiao Chen put on the mask and turned into the appearance of the White Fox. At this moment it was still early, and there was no van in front of the Warriors Guild. In other words, Sun Rongqing should not have arrived yet. Therefore, Xiao Chen simply walked forward and came to the intersection of the road to the Warriors Guild. He waited here for Sun Rongqing's arrival, which was a little like waiting for a rabbit to come to him. There was still some distance from the Warriors Guild, so he would not be discovered during the hijacking. Although Xiao Chen's identity as the White Fox was disguised, he still had an account in the Warriors Guild. If his points were frozen, it would be really bad. After waiting for about 10 minutes, Xiao Chen saw a van with the license plate that CFA mentioned before slowly driving towards him. Xiao Chen quietly prepared to hijack the car. However, what surprised Xiao Chen was that the van did not drive in the direction of the Warriors Guild when it reached this intersection. Instead, it turned into a small forest on the right. This made Xiao Chen puzzled. Wasn't this Sun Rongqing's car? Why didn't it go to the Warriors Guild, but the direction of the small forest? Did it go the wrong way, or did it purposely find a place where there was no one else to rob them? Of course, Xiao Chen was just thinking about it. In his opinion, Sun Rongqing was not that stupid. He probably wanted to find a place to relieve himself, right? Xiao Chen followed without batting an eyelid. Sure enough, the van stopped in a dense forest. Then the door opened and the red-haired man jumped out of the car. In his hand he dragged a person out of the car. When he saw this person, Xiao Chen was shocked. Wasn't this Kerlin? Was she kidnapped again? Then he saw a man who looked similar to Sun Rongqing but was obviously more mature jump out of the car. "Young Master Qin, the environment here is not bad. It's very elegant, suitable for a wild fight. Are you satisfied?" The red-haired man asked flatteringly. Not bad. However, the ground is a little dirty. Find me a blanket to lay on the ground." Sun Rongqing said. "No problem." The red-haired man quickly ran into the car and went to find a blanket. "All right, no need to look." Xiao Chen walked over indifferently and said coldly. However, it gave Sun Rongqing, who was about to show off his power, a shock. The red-haired man who was looking for a blanket was also stunned. "You, who are you?" The red-haired man asked in shock. You are White Fox? Sun Rongqin recognized Xiao Chen's identity. Previously, White Fox barged into Sun Rongjin's room and interrogated him. After that, the Sun family investigated White Fox. Sun Rongqin had seen the surveillance footage and knew that he was the ruthless person who killed Lu Dianbiao. You know me? That's right, it's me. Xiao Chen said indifferently. Chapter 229. What are you doing here? When Sun Rongqin heard White Fox admit his identity, he was so scared that he was sweating profusely. We have no grudges. The one who has a grudge against you is my younger brother, Sun Rongjin. He is already dead. Someone hired me to protect this girl. You captured her. Tell me, how should I deal with you? Xiao Chen looked at Sun Rongqin and said coldly, You have guts, don't you? You dare to capture someone whom I, hero White Fox, want to protect? Didn't you inquire about my name in Songning City? Hero White Fox, I naturally know your name, but we didn't know that this little girl is the person you want to protect. As the saying goes, ignorance is not a crime. Please forgive us. Sun Rongqin was a little panicked. Although he was a martial artist, he was only a stage 2 inner force martial artist. The person in front of him could even kill Lu Dianbiao. How would he dare to act rashly? In fact, Lin had already woken up when she was dragged out of the car, but she didn't scream. She knew her surroundings. This was a small forest. It was useless for her to scream. Instead, it would provoke the criminals to treat her more cruelly. But what Lin didn't expect was that someone would actually come to save her here. And this person seemed to be Xiao Chen. Although Xiao Chen was wearing a mask and his voice had changed, Lin had an intuition that the person in front of her was Xiao Chen. That day when she saw him with Zhu Yingxiong, she was even more certain of this matter. Moreover, from his figure and clothes, Lin could be sure that this was Xiao Chen wearing a chef's suit. Although paired with the White Fox mask, it was hard for people to associate this snow-white outfit with a chef's uniform. Lin Kuer had seen Xiao Chen every day in the morning market. How could she not think of it? Although Lin guessed it, she also understood that Xiao Chen probably wanted to hide his identity, so she didn't expose him. Instead, she quietly lay on the ground and pretended to be unconscious. You don't know? Xiao Chen looked at Sun Rongqin coldly. You think it's fine just because you say you don't know? Haven't you heard of the saying, a thief never leaves empty-handed? That, I can give you money, yes, I can give you money. Sun Rongqin had just been promoted, and he didn't want to die on the first day because of such a trivial matter. That would be too much of a loss, and he hadn't enjoyed it yet. Therefore, Sun Rongqin's first thought was to buy his life with money. Didn't they say that thieves never leave empty-handed? If I give you the money, you won't be running away empty-handed. Do you have money? How much money do you have? Xiao Chen asked. I have. Sun Rongqin suddenly thought, where do I have money? He had just been promoted for the first day. He had no money at all. In the Sun family, his status was much worse than Sun Rongjin's. He only had a fixed amount of pocket money every month and it was squandered by him. How could he have any savings? No money? Then I'm sorry, I can only kill you. Xiao Chen said faintly. Don't. We have no grievances. To be honest, this little girl, I just want to fulfill the wish of my dead brother. It really has nothing to do with me. Sun Rongqin argued with a sad face, but he was secretly cursing Sun Rongjin for dying a horrible death. He even left a tail behind. He knew that Lin was under the protection of the White Fox hero, but he didn't say anything. He even dared to kidnap her. He was really courting death. Even if he didn't die immediately, he would be killed by the White Fox hero. I can give you an IOU. How much money do you want? Now that I have taken over the Sun family's business, I can definitely get money in the future. A thief never leaves empty-handed. Are you retarded? Have you eaten too many retarded pills? Xiao Chen sneered. Today I want to get something back. Then, this car is not bad. How about I give this car to you first? Sun Rongqin thought about it. Other than this, he really didn't have anything else to give to Xiao Chen. He couldn't give it to Red Hair, right? Even if he gave it to him, someone had to calculate it. Okay. Xiao Chen pondered for a moment and pretended to nod reluctantly. In fact, he was waiting for Sun Rongqin to say this. If he took the initiative to ask for the car, it would seem a bit strange. However, since Sun Rongqin suggested it, there was no problem. Xiao Chen was actually playing with time. He didn't want the Sun family to associate him with the Xie family, and he also didn't want the Sun family to associate Sun Rongjin and Sun Rongqin's death with him. Of course, Sun Rongqin wasn't dead yet. After all, Xiao Chen's strength wasn't very strong. He could go around the Sun family for a while. When his strength broke through to the 5th level of the chi refinement stage, he basically wouldn't have to be afraid anymore. Okay, then help me drive the car to the entrance of the warrior guild. I will unload the things on the car and the car will be yours. Sun Rongqing saw that Xiao Qin agreed and immediately let out a sigh of relief. You still want me to be your driver? You still want the goods? Xiao Qin suddenly glared and said, I think you want to die? As he said that, Xiao Qin patted Sun Rongqing a few times and said, You are very dishonest. You still dare to order me? I think you should be more careful when you go back. Don't be like your Sun Rongqing and die immediately. Sun Rongqing wanted to cry but no tears came out. He wanted to say that the medicinal ingredients in the car were sent by the Sun family to the warrior guild and were very valuable. However, the more valuable it was, the more the White Fox hero wouldn't let it go. He slightly regretted saying that he wanted to give the car, but in the end he couldn't go back on his words. Okay, if there's nothing else I will leave. Before I go back on my words, you better not speak in front of me. Otherwise I will kill you right now. As Xiao Qin said that, he carried Kerlin and placed her in the front passenger seat of the car. Kerlin's body stiffened. She was awake and didn't faint. When she was carried by Xiao Qin, it was a conditioned reflex. However, it made Xiao Qin stunned. Kerlin woke up. However, he didn't care. He thought that Kerlin was scared by Sun Rongqing. How could he know that Kerlin actually knew his identity? Xiao Qin directly got into the car and drove away, leaving Sun Rongqing and Red Hair looking at each other. Xiao Qin didn't say that he was targeting the Sun family's medicinal ingredients. Instead, he used Kerlin as an excuse. In other words, it was just a coincidence that the car left. The Sun family wouldn't suspect the Xie family for the time being. Where do you live? I will send you back. Xiao Qin's voice was still White Fox's. He asked Kerlin coldly, I was hired by someone to save you, so you don't have to thank me. Lin Kuo suddenly felt that it was a little funny. Xiao Qin's cool look was quite convincing, but Lin Kuo already knew his identity. She felt that it was quite funny. I live in the slums. But I'm studying at Songning City's #1 high school, you can send me there directly. She didn't know why Xiao Qin didn't reveal his identity, but Kerlin didn't expose him. In fact, Xiao Qin felt that the fewer people who knew about this identity, the better. It was fine if Kerlin didn't know. After all, White Fox was a very cold and ruthless character. Along the way, Xiao Qin didn't say a word. Kerlin naturally didn't find it appropriate to talk. When they arrived at the entrance of Songning City's first high school, Kerlin got out of the car. Xiao Qin drove the car and thought of a solution. This car of medicinal ingredients, where should I go? After thinking about it, Xiao Qin could only call Xie. White Fox, how is it? Is there any difficulty? If it's difficult, then forget it. Xie had been waiting anxiously for Xiao Qin's news. Don't be too forceful. If we do, the Sun clan will suspect that it was our Xie clan who did it. I'm afraid they'll disregard the consequences to take revenge. Oh, it's settled. Don't worry, the Sun family won't suspect you in a short period of time. These two incidents can be attributed to coincidence. Xiao Qin said indifferently, by the way, I robbed the Xie family's car of medicinal ingredients. Do you want them? Forget it. Xie hesitated and said, it's best to destroy that car of medicinal ingredients. If it were to flow into the warrior guild from our hands, Medicine Master Sun would probably see the problem at a glance. After all, every clan has a rough estimate of the quality of their medicinal herbs. So that's how it is. Xiao Qin nodded. The warrior market was guarded by Medicine Master Sun, which was a troublesome matter. As long as the medicinal ingredients were sold to the warrior market, Medicine Master Sun would not be able to get past him. He thought he could make some money with these medicinal ingredients. After all, although these medicinal ingredients were not very precious, they were worth tens of millions. Then I'll think of a way myself. For the time being, the Sun family's matter has been settled. If there's any news, let me know directly. Alright, thank you. Xie thanked him solemnly. She did not expect Xiao Qin to be so helpful. In the blink of an eye, it was settled. Although the Xie family also dared to rob, the Xie family had too many flaws. It would not be good if they were caught. The only people that Xiao Qin knew who could dispose of the stolen goods were the Xie family. However, Xiao Qin had a flash of inspiration and thought of a more suitable pharmacy. However, he did not know if that pharmacy could handle so many goods. Naturally, Xiao Qin thought of the pharmacy that he usually bought medicinal ingredients from. That pharmacy had such a complete range of medicinal ingredients. They should also purchase these more expensive medicinal ingredients. It was just that the amount of medicinal ingredients in the car was a little too much. However, it was always good to give it a try. Otherwise, it would be useless for Xiao Qin to keep so many medicinal ingredients. With this thought in mind, Xiao Qin directly drove to the pharmacy. After parking the car in front of the pharmacy, Xiao Qin got out of the car. At the counter of the pharmacy, there was still a young girl reading a book. However, based on the young girl's attire and Xiao Qian's intuition, this person should still be Hong Zhu and not Hong Yan. As expected, the moment Xiao Qin entered the door, Hong Zhu's enchanting voice rang out. "Handsome, why didn't you come last night? Shouldn't you be here to buy medicinal ingredients last night? You made this little sister wait for you all night, but you didn't come to chat with this little sister." Chapter 230. Xiao Qin broke into a cold sweat. This Hong Zhu actually remembered it clearly. Indeed, he should have come yesterday to buy medicinal herbs, but because he was delayed on the deserted island for a day, he had eaten the herbs for an extra day. "Something happened, so I didn't come." Xiao Qin coughed twice and said, "Before buying medicinal herbs, I want to ask you something first." "What is it?" "If little sister knows, I will definitely tell you. However, little sister's 3 measurements are a secret." Hong Zhu winked at Xiao Qin. "Body structure is also a secret, don't ask." Cough cough. Xiao Qin suddenly became a little embarrassed and speechless. He turned his head, not daring to look at Hong Zhu's charming eyes. "I want to ask if your pharmacy is buying medicinal herbs?" "Buying medicinal herbs?" Hong Zhu thought that Xiao Qin had come to buy medicinal herbs, so when she heard Xiao Qin ask if she was buying medicinal herbs, she could not help but feel a little strange. "You have medicinal herbs to sell to me?" "And I have some, but they are illegal goods. It depends on whether or not you dare to accept them and whether or not you can eat them." Xiao Qin hesitated for a moment and felt that it was better not to lie. After all, this pharmacy was quite good to him, and Xiao Qin could not possibly cheat her, right? Although Hong Zhu would sometimes cheat him, overall the pharmacy still took good care of him, so Xiao Qin had to make things clear. "Illegal goods?" Hong Zhu was even more surprised. "Where did this illegal goods come from? Are you a great bandit? Do I look like one?" Xiao Qin did not know whether to laugh or cry. "I just casually got them from an enemy. These medicinal herbs were originally meant for the Martial Artist Guild's market square, but I robbed them. If you accept them, there might be trouble. After all, the pressure on the Martial Artist Guild and the Hong Clan Chamber of Commerce is not ordinary." "Oh, let me see the goods." Hong Zhu nodded after hearing this, as if she was not afraid of trouble at all. "All right." Xiao Qin made an inviting gesture and led Hong Zhu out of the room. "What is it, handsome? From your expression, do you want to invite little sister to eat?" Hong Zhu blinked. "Food stalls, roadside stalls, you can choose whatever you want," Xiao Qin said. "How insincere. This little sister is a high-class person. I would never go to that kind of place," Hong Zhu said with a smile. "Oh, I'm a low-class person. I'm on a different level from you. Let's look at the goods first." Xiao Qin didn't want to get entangled with Hong Zhu too much. If he really provoked this little demon girl, it would definitely bring him endless trouble. "You're afraid that my little sister will eat you?" Hong Zhu curled his lips. "Stop, how old are you this year? Looking at your development, you don't look like a little sister. You always call yourself a little sister in front of me. I really can't stand it anymore." This was a question that Xiao Qin had wanted to say many times. Today he finally couldn't help but say it. 16 years old, Hong Zhu said. "But if you want to call me big sister, I don't have any objections." "You grew up on hormones, right?" Xiao Qin was speechless. 16 years old? Alright, he had misjudged. How did you know that big sister grew up on hormones? Little brother is so awesome." Hong Zhu directly changed her identity from little sister to big sister. "Little brother. So awesome." Xiao Qin took a deep breath. Fortunately, he had strong willpower. "How much can you pay for these medicinal herbs?" "I've made a rough estimate and the real price is around 10 million. Xiao Qin avoided Hong Zhu's topic and pointed to the medicinal herbs in the cart. A trace of surprise flashed in Hong Zhu's eyes. She had wanted to tempt Xiao Qin into selling the medicinal herbs to her at a low price, but she hadn't expected him to not be fooled. Hong Zhu carefully inspected the medicinal herbs in the cart. Indeed, according to the normal market price, they were worth around 10 million. However, she said, "I'll give you 3 million, the price of one set of medicinal herbs." 3 million? One set of medicinal herbs? That's not even a third of it. Are you trying to scam me to death? The lowest price that Xiao Qin could accept was 50% off. After all, although this was illegal, the profits were enormous. Illegal goods naturally have their own price. It's risky for me to buy these things. Think about it, the Warrior Guild and the Hong Clan Chamber of Commerce are huge existences. If they come looking for trouble with Big Sister, how will Big Sister deal with them? You won't kidnap Big Sister to sell your body, right? Just thinking about it is really scary. Hong Zhu said. Xiao Qin looked at her appearance. She didn't seem to be afraid at all, so he really didn't know what to say. How about 5 million? 50% off? This little brother is still fighting with Big Sister for a free transaction. When the time comes, you can ask Big Sister for help. Big Sister will help you. Hong Zhu said. Big Sister will owe you a favor. All right. Xiao Qin was too lazy to argue with Hong Zhu. After all, Hong Zhu was right, this thing was free. Even the Xie clan didn't dare to ask for it, so it was already good that someone wanted it. If the price was lower, then so be it. 3 million was also free. Medicinal herbs, give me 1 set. No problem. Hong Zhu was very happy to see Xiao Qin agree. Then he pointed to an empty space in front of the pharmacy and said, "Help me unload the medicinal herbs and put them here." Okay. This was nothing for Xiao Qin and he finished it in no time. On the other side, Hong Zhu also grabbed the medicinal herbs for him. Xiao Qin took the medicinal herbs and took his leave. He really didn't want to have too much interaction with Hong Zhu. This little demon girl always wanted to scam him. Driving the car that he had swindled from Sun Rongqin, Xiao Qin returned to the villa. However, he didn't park the car in the front yard, but directly in the garage in the villa's backyard. After all, this car might be recognized, so it was better for Xiao Qin to be a bit more cautious. Along the way, Xiao Qin planned to take a look at the universe's super invincible dog, but he didn't see it. Only then did he remember that Yi Xiaoya had taken it away yesterday. He didn't know if she had any results from her research. However, since he didn't see Yi Xiaoya, Xiao Qin didn't go look for her. He put the car down and rushed to the school. He had been late for 2 days in a row. Fortunately, Xiao Qin had a good relationship with the academic affairs dean. Otherwise he would at least be scolded. After Xiao Qin left, Hong Zhu looked at the large pile of medicinal herbs on the ground with a big smile. "You're my little Hong Zhu. No matter how much I love you, it's never too much. Little Hong Zhu, you're really a genius. You earned another 7 million. In addition to the previous 2 million, you've earned 9 million. It's all your private stash." After being happy, Hong Zhu picked up his phone and dialed a number. "Uncle Tai, I'm little Zhu." "Hello, Miss Zhu. Do you have any instructions?" An honest voice came from the other side of the phone. Of course, if one really thought that he was honest, then one would be sorely mistaken. Tai Muching, the person in charge of the Hong Chamber of Commerce's provincial branch. He was the second in command of the Warriors Market, and the first in command was the president of the Warriors Guild. However, in terms of authority in the market, Tai Muching was still slightly more powerful. This was because he was directly appointed by the Hong Chamber of Commerce. This person, who all the warriors in the province had to curry favor with, had a simple and honest image in front of Hong Zhu. "Uncle Tai, come to the pharmacy for a while. I have medicinal herbs to supply you," Hong Zhu said. "All right, I'll go over now." Tai Muching didn't ask why. It was as if it was only natural for him to do so. Not long after, a Mercedes-Benz commercial vehicle stopped at the entrance of the pharmacy. A middle-aged man in his 40s got out of the car. He was Tai Muching. Usually, when Tai Muching went out, he would bring a driver and attendants with him. However, this time he came alone. Once he entered the pharmacy, Tai Muching cupped his fists respectfully at Hong Zhu. "Miss Zhu, what medicinal herbs do you need from me?" "That's all." Hong Zhu pointed at the medicinal herbs piled on the ground at the entrance and said, "I've estimated that it's about 10 million. Just give me 10 million. Tai Muching was slightly stunned after hearing that. "These are medicinal herbs that Miss Zhu personally supplied?" "Yes, they're illegal goods. I got them from someone else." Hong Zhu didn't hide anything. "Uncle Tai, after you take them back, you know what to do, right?" "I understand. Miss Zhu, don't worry. I won't speak carelessly." These medicinal herbs were all allocated by the Hong Chamber of Commerce's headquarters. "This is the answer no matter who asks," Tai Muching said. "All right, you can go back now." Hong Zhu nodded in satisfaction. If Xiao Qin was here, he would definitely be taken aback. The originally coquettish little Hong Zhu had actually turned into an obedient girl. At this moment, she was no different from Hong Yen. She was natural and unrestrained, like a young lady from a wealthy family. Tai Muching left as quickly as he came. After transferring 10 million to Hong Zhu's account, he left with the medicinal herbs. To him, it didn't matter if these medicinal herbs were stolen goods or not. Even if they were, who could do anything to him? Some were happy while others were sad. Sun Rongqing didn't manage to play with Kerlin, and the medicinal herbs were snatched away by Hero White Fox. He was extremely depressed. This was really a bad start. His first day in charge of the family business had already gone wrong. How was he going to explain this to his family when he returned? However, Sun Rongqing didn't dare to hide such a big thing. Moreover, if he didn't deliver the medicinal herbs later, Medicine Master Sun would immediately find out that something was wrong. Therefore he might as well hurry home and confess. Of course, he didn't plan to tell them everything that happened today. After all, if he told them everything, he wouldn't be far from being out of luck. Old Man Sun could give him power, but he could also take it away. Although Old Man Sun was extremely sad about Sun Rongqing's death, he couldn't blame anyone else for this matter. He didn't have a good life. Immediately Feng died and Shaoli was executed. What else could he do? He could only say that it was his family's misfortune. Today, Old Man Sun had just finished his breakfast when he heard a servant report that Sun Rongqing had returned and asked to see him together with red hair. Let him come over. Sun Xiaonong was a little surprised that Sun Rongqing came back so soon. He thought that Sun Rongqing would go out to celebrate after delivering the medicinal herbs. Sun Xiaonong also understood that Sun Rongqing had been suppressed for too long. Now that he had been promoted, it was normal for him to go and celebrate. He wouldn't interfere. However, Sun Rongqing didn't go. This surprised Sun Xiaonong, but he was also a little surprised. This grandson of his wasn't shallow. He didn't have the impetuous temperament of young people. From this point of view, he was better than Sun Rongqing. Chapter 231. Therefore, for the Sun family, it was a blessing in disguise. Sun Rongqing's ascension to the position might be a good thing. Footsteps came from outside the door, followed by a knock on the door. Sun Xiaonong knew that Sun Rongqing was here, so he said, "Please come in." Rongqing greets Grandpa. Sun Rongqing bowed respectfully. Lu Lizao greets Old Man Sun. The red-haired man also said respectfully, "And the herbs have been sent? What did Medicine Master Sun say?" Sun Xiaonong nodded and asked, "Grandpa, I'm useless." Sun Rongqing knelt on the ground with a thud. "Grandson's medicinal herbs have been stolen." "What did you say?" Sun Xiaonong was stunned. He didn't understand what Sun Rongqing meant. "What do you mean your herbs have been stolen? You mean to say that the Xie family rushed to send the medicinal herbs to the warrior guild before you did and snatched your business?" "No, it's just that on the road someone blocked my way and robbed me of my car. He also took away the medicinal herbs." Sun Rongqing said with a bitter face, "The opponent was too strong. My strength wasn't enough. Even if I wanted to fight, it was futile." "What happened? Who stole it? Who has the guts to steal our Sun family's herbs?" Sun Xiaonong was furious. This wasn't a small number. 10 million worth of herbs was stolen just like that? "I don't know either. However, he drove the Volkswagen that Rongqing lost. He should be the person who rescued Kerlin, right?" Sun Rongqing had already discussed with the red-haired man on the way. If he told the truth, then everyone would be in trouble. Sun Rongqing wanted to go for the woman his brother liked because of his lust. In the end, the herbs were stolen. Although the red-haired man didn't have much responsibility, he was the one who brought up the matter of Kerlin. He was also the one who brought Sun Rongqing to catch the culprit. How could he not be responsible? Last time, Old Master Sun let him go for the sake of Medicine Master Sunday. This time he didn't know if he would be so lucky. Even if he was lucky enough to survive, he probably wouldn't be entrusted with important tasks again. It wasn't as comfortable as he was now. Following Sun Rongqing, he could eat and drink well. This was much better than being a commoner in the morning market. Sun Xiaonong was taken aback. "That Lin Ke, isn't she the person that the Zhu family's Zhu Yingxiong wants to protect?" "That's right, that Lin Ke is rumored to be the woman that Zhu Yingxiong's boss Xiao family's good-for-nothing Xiao Chen has taken a liking to." "So, the person who stole the car is Zhu Yingxiong?" Sun Xiaonong asked. "It's not him. I don't know him." Sun Rongqing was shocked and quickly looked at the redhead Zhu Yingxiong. When Lu Jianbiao died, the Sun family had specially researched this person. It was impossible for Sun Rongqing not to know him. He must have seen his photo. It was just that Sun Rongqing had said that he didn't know who the robber was. However, it was impossible for it to be the useless Xiao Chen. If it was Zhu Yingxiong, he couldn't possibly not know him. Who else could it be? I didn't think it through. Am I going to be exposed? Sun Rongqing broke into a cold sweat. If he was exposed, his position in the Sun family would be unimaginable. "It's not Zhu Yingxiong or Xiao Chen. It should be Xiao Chen's other lackey, Qin Jinpeng," said Red Hair. "Qin Jinpeng? Didn't he betray Xiao Chen and rely on the Chao family's Chao Yuliang? The Sun family still had a good understanding of these aristocratic families. Especially when they were studying Zhuing Xiong, they also studied Xiao Chen and his lackeys. Last time, when Duo accompanied young Master Jin to the beach, he saw Qin Jinping and Xiao Chen barbecue together. Young Master Jin wanted to get revenge, but Qin Jinping claimed to be Xiao Chen's lackey and beat them up. I know about this, so I think it might be Qin Jinping? Red Hair's reaction was faster, and he quickly found a scapegoat, Qin Jinping. Qin Jinping. Sun Xiaonong frowned. Okay, I know. That Qin Jinping is a martial artist at the peak of the second level of inner force. He is indeed stronger than you. You guys can leave first. You don't have to bother about this anymore. It's probably the trouble that Sun Rongjin caused back then. He kidnapped Xiao Chen's woman. Xiao Chen used to be a hedonistic young master in the past. It's reasonable for him to let his younger brother rob you guys. No, it's my fault for not being strong enough. Grandson must seize the time to practice and strive to surpass that Qin Jinping as soon as possible. Sun Rongjin said quickly. It's good that you have this ambition. Our Sun family will also become a martial arts family in the future. At that time, we won't be worse than those aristocratic families. Even with the business support of the warrior market, it's not impossible to become the first family in the province. Sun Xiaonong waved his hand, indicating that Sun Rongjin could leave. Yes. Sun Rongjin was very happy. He didn't expect to get away with it. Not only did he not have to take responsibility, but he also won the favor of Elder Sunday. In the long run, it's not impossible for him to become the young master. After leaving Sun Xiaonong's study room, they went all the way back to Sun Rongjin's villa. Sun Rongjin patted the red-haired guy's shoulder and said, "You are very good. Your reaction is very fast. Today we almost exposed ourselves. It's my duty to share young Master Qin's burden," the red-haired guy said flatteringly. "Well, today let's have some fun and calm down. I haven't vented this evil fire yet. You find 2 young models and come here. Let's play 4P together," Sun Rongjin said with a lewd smile. "No problem." The red-haired guy was overjoyed. He didn't expect that he could have fun with them. In the past, although he was a street person in the morning market and was also a tyrant in the morning market, he was just a gangster. Even if he had money, he could only find a prostitute in a hair salon. As for young models, he didn't even dare to think about it. But now, following Sun Rongjin, he could enjoy the life of a rich young master. He quickly found a phone and asked his informant to invite the young models over. An hour later, the red-haired guy was dumbfounded. He was completely dumbfounded. Sun Rongjin actually died. Moreover, he died on a woman's belly. Previously, the red-haired guy was still praising Sun Rongjin's indestructible golden spear. In the end, not long after, Sun Rongjin lay down and never got up again. Red Hair was in the midst of his second success, but in the end he was scared witless. The 2 young models were also scared silly. They were just earning some extra money. They were originally quite happy to serve the eldest young master of the Sun family, but in the end they served him to death. However, such a big thing happened. The red-haired guy couldn't hide it even if he wanted to. Without a choice, the red-haired guy could only use one hand to knock out the 2 young models. Then he quickly put on his clothes and ran back to Sun Xiaonong's villa. "Why are you back again?" Sun Xiaonong looked at the red-haired guy who ran back in a hurry. "Old man Sun, it's bad. Young Master Qin, he's dead." The red-haired guy exclaimed with a sad face. Dead? Sun Xiaonong was stunned. He suddenly felt like his heart was going to explode. How did he die? Wasn't he fine just now? The red-haired guy didn't dare to hide it. He told Old Man Sun about Sun Rongjin asking him to find 2 young models to play with. Then Sun Rongjin died immediately. Another death on horseback? Sun Xiaonong's face suddenly changed. He really couldn't believe that Sun Rongjin, who was still alive and kicking, died just like that. Moreover, he died on horseback. How was this possible? Could it be that the children of the Sun family had some invisible family hereditary disease? But why didn't they show it before? Sun Rongjin was depressed before. He often played with small celebrities and young models in his villa, but he never died on horseback. It was the same for Sun Rongjin. If Sun Rongjin was hit by Zhuing Xiong, then what kind of consequences did Sun Rongjin have? "Yes, old man Sun, what should we do?" The red-haired guy's face was sad. "Previously, I tried to persuade young Master Qin. It's fine if he didn't behave properly in the past, but now that he's someone you entrusted with an important task, he should be more careful." But young Master Qin said that he was bullied today and wanted to vent his frustrations. I can't disobey him. After all, I'm young Master Qin's follower. I can persuade him, but I don't dare to stop him. I know. Let's go. Bring me to him. Sun Xiaonong waved his hand. He also knew that the red-haired guy was just a follower. If Sun Rongqin didn't want to, he couldn't find young models to come to the villa. Soon, the red-haired guy and Sun Xiaonong arrived at Sun Rongqin's villa. Sun Xiaonong first glanced at the two young models on the bed. There was really nothing to say about them. They had everything he wanted and their figures were excellent. Actually, Sun Xiaonong sometimes had a whim and found some young models to have sex with. Of course, he did it secretly so others just didn't know about it. These two were of the highest quality and old man Sun was a little tempted. However, when he saw his dead grandson, Sun Xiaonong's heart suddenly turned cold. He quickly went to check on Sun Rongqin's condition. He couldn't be more dead. There was no hope at all. Moreover, looking at the bloody mess below him, it was obvious that he had died from losing his yang energy. It was exactly the same way as Sun Rongqin's death. Sun Xiaonong took a deep breath and dialed Medicine Master Sun's number. Uncle, why isn't Rongqin here yet? If he comes too late, the Xie family will be one step ahead of him. It won't be easy for me to operate. I can't just leave all of them, right? I might have to leave some behind. After all, the warrior's market isn't decided by me alone, Medicine Master Sun said quickly after the call was connected. Medicine Master Sun, hurry back to the Sun family now. Something happened. Rongqin is dead and he died immediately. Come over and check on him. Sun Xiaonong said anxiously. What? Rongqin is dead? Okay, I'll go right away. Medicine Master Sun responded quickly and took a leave. He handed over the job of Medicine Master to Medicine Master Gu, left the warrior's market in a hurry, and rushed back to the Sun family. Chapter 232. When they returned to the Sun family, Medicine Master Sun immediately started to perform an autopsy on Sun Rongqin. However, the result was that he had died on horseback. There was nothing wrong with Sun Rongqin's body. He hadn't been poisoned, nor did he have any hidden diseases. In other words, Sun Rongqin's death was sudden, and there was no cause for it. Medicine Master Sun's autopsy was quite professional. If there was nothing wrong with him, then there was nothing wrong. Sun Xiaonong was helpless, but there was nothing he could do. However, he wouldn't completely believe the red-haired man's one-sided story. He got someone to suck the two young models clean and sent them to his room. He wanted to interrogate them personally to find out what the situation was. However, the result was basically the same as what the red-haired man said. The two of them came and then, there was nothing else. Sun Rongqin died. Sun Xiaonong had 2 grandchildren die in 2 days. His heart was filled with unspeakable grievance and grief. Looking at the 2 seductive young models, he directly pushed them down and scolded them. Needless to say, it was really enjoyable. In fact, the 2 young models were afraid of death, so they used all their skills to serve Sun Xiaonong. In the end, after Sun Xiaonong was satisfied, he killed the 2 young models to vent his anger. Sun Rongqin couldn't die in vain. There had to be a scapegoat. After getting rid of the bodies of the 2 young models, Old Man Sun convened a family meeting, intending to restudy the future plan. This time, other than Sun Xiaonong's 2 sons, Sun Yuming and Sun Yoli, and Medicine Master Sun and Sun Yukai, Sun Xiaonong's youngest daughter, Sun Yumao, was also attending the meeting. In the past, Sun Yumao wasn't allowed to participate in the family meeting. After all, she was a married daughter. Some of the family's core affairs weren't handled by her. She was married to an ordinary small boss. At that time, the Sun family hadn't risen yet, and Medicine Master Sun wasn't famous, so they didn't think about marriage. But all along, Sun Xiaonong didn't pay much attention to Sun Yumao and his son-in-law. He gave them a small business and let them handle it. But now it was different. 2 members of the Sun family were dead and the 2 third generation were too young. It was impossible for them to take over the business. Sun Yuming and Sun Yoli had other matters to take care of. Sun Yuming was responsible for the procurement of medicinal herbs and goods, while Sun Yoli was responsible for the family's other sales business and the cultivation of the family's martial artists. It was impossible for him to take the time to deal with the warrior's market. One had to know that after becoming a supplier to the warrior guild, one of them would have to go to the warrior's market frequently to see what medicinal herbs were scarce and report back. Then the family would quickly purchase and supply them to make money. As for the cultivator city square, it was impossible for them to tell you what they were lacking. You had to observe them yourself. If you did not observe them, the other suppliers would. If they disliked you, you would fall behind. Actually, in the cultivator city square, aside from the Xie clan, There were many other small suppliers that could earn this kind of money. As for those commonly used herbs, they were monopolized by the Xie clan. However, the Sun family was greedy. In addition to fighting for the Xie family's share, the Sun family also wanted to be one of the suppliers to earn money. Back then, the Xie clan was more benevolent. He ate the meat and gave the soup to the others. But now, the Sun family wanted all the soup and didn't want to leave anything behind. Everyone knows about Rongqing's matter, right? Sun Xiaonong's expression was a little haggard. He coughed and started the family meeting. Father, Rongqing had never been sick before. Why did he suddenly die of a sudden illness? Is there a problem with what Red Hair said? At this moment, the saddest person was Sun Yuming. His son had just returned to his position and died in less than a day. He had been happy for nothing. Big brother, what's wrong with Red Hair's words? I checked personally. Rongqing died of an accident. No one wanted to harm him. He wasn't poisoned and his body didn't suffer any organic changes. At this time, Medicine Master Sun spoke. Red Hair was introduced by his disciple. Of course, he had to protect Red Hair. Rongqing, this child, probably died from overexcitement. He had been suppressed for too long. Recently, a good thing suddenly came and he vented too much. This. Sun Yuming was stunned. He suddenly remembered that although Medicine Master Sun was his cousin in name, he had a prominent position now. To put it bluntly, the Sun family's development depended on him. He was doing this to repay Sun Xiaonong's kindness in raising him. However, if you casually doubted his ability and the people he introduced, he would definitely be unhappy. That's right. I also asked those two young models. It's similar to what Red Hair said. Sun Xiaonong waved his hand and said, You can't blame Red Hair for this. The two young models that Rongqing asked for weren't cheap. Even if you asked Red Hair to pay for them, he wouldn't be able to afford it. Since Sun Xiaonong had spoken, Sun Yuming didn't dare to say anything else. In fact, he just wanted to find someone to vent his anger on. He also knew that Red Hair probably didn't matter much. Red Hair was neither a warrior nor a medicine master. He didn't have the ability to harm Sun Rongqing. If he had this ability, he would have been amazing long ago. Why would he still be here as a follower? I was a little too anxious. Sun Yuming sighed. But if Rongqing also goes, what about the family and the business of the warrior's market? This batch of medicinal herbs worth more than 10 million yuan has been snatched away. We can't gather too many medicinal herbs in a short time. This time the Xie family will definitely get it first. That can't be helped. Medicine Master Sun said helplessly, although I'm the chief pharmacist of the warrior's market, there are still the president, the vice president, and the shopkeeper of the Hong Chamber of Commerce. I can't stop the Xie family from supplying the medicinal herbs. I can only throw out a batch of unqualified ones. The key problem is that after I throw out the medicinal herbs, the Sun family can immediately replace them. If the Sun family doesn't replace them, it will only benefit the other small suppliers. We'll have to work hard for nothing. That's true. Sun Xiaonong nodded. Let's do it this time. This time let the Xie family benefit. Mingming, continue to collect medicinal herbs. But don't worry. In fact, this batch of medicinal herbs is commonly used. Every once in a while the warrior's market will buy a batch. We just need to catch up with the next batch. Medicine Master Sun said, that's the only thing we can do now. As for the rest, I'll see if we can tilt the other medicinal herbs that are temporarily lacking. When the announcement is made, the Sun family will be the first to know so that we can purchase in advance and earn some money. That's good too. Hearing that there was a way to make up for it, Sun Xiaonong nodded. Yukai, thank you. But I have to find someone to come to the warrior's market every few days. In the market, my phone is monitored. I can't directly inform the Sun family, but I can ask my disciple to secretly hint to them. Medicine Master Sun said, if it's within the rules, no one will find trouble with me. But if I'm found out, it will be hard for me to explain. Yukai, don't worry. I won't make it difficult for you. It's already very good that you've reached this step. Sun Xiaonong waved his hand and said, next, I want to talk about the issue of appointing individuals. Chinayafu, you are the son-in-law of the Sun family. You have been idle for a long time. Now it's time to share some of the Sun family's business. After all, the Sun family is not the same as before. The business is getting bigger and bigger. It's better to leave it to your own family. Chinayafu was called to attend the family meeting today. He was very puzzled and didn't know the purpose of calling him. At this time, Sun Xiaonong suddenly announced that he would be participating in the family business. He was surprised and happy. To be honest, all these years his small business had not made much progress. He had handed it over to others to manage. He wanted to start his own business and make some achievements, but he didn't have any capital. The Sun family also didn't support him, so he didn't have any achievements. He thought that this was it for the rest of his life. He didn't expect that the Sun family would suddenly entrust him with a heavy responsibility. He was very excited. "Father, don't worry. I will do my best. And in the future, you will be the liaison between our Sun family and the warrior market." Sun Xiaonong said, "You will be closer to Yu Kai in the future. As for that red-haired guy Yu Kai, don't let him participate for the time being." "I know. I will let him rest for a while." Sun Yu Kai also knew that it was good enough to keep the red-haired guy alive. He followed two young masters, but both of them died under his eyes. Although he couldn't be blamed, this kind of bad luck was really unacceptable. As Sun Yu Kai was speaking, his phone rang. It was his disciple. He glanced at it, made a gesture for everyone to be quiet, and picked up the phone. "Hello. What's the matter?" "Master, the Xia family sent medicinal herbs. Medicine Master Gu received them. They should have all passed. I saw that Medicine Master Gu had already sent the medicinal herbs to the warehouse. What should we do?" Medicine Master Sun's disciple was naturally on Medicine Master Sun's side. He said anxiously. "I know." Sun Yu Kai said in a deep voice, "Don't worry about them. I will go back now." "Okay, Master," the disciple said. After hanging up the phone, Medicine Master Sun said, "Uncle, the Xia family has already sent people to send the medicinal herbs. I will go back and see if I can find something. If not, I can only do this." "Well, forget it if you can't." Sun Xiaonong said, "Don't force it. It will affect you again." "I know what I'm doing." Medicine Master Sun nodded and left the conference room. Sun Xiaonong sighed and said, "This Xia family can't be finished for a while." Everyone was helpless, but Chen Iafu was very happy. After all, he had taken over part of the Sun family's business. Of course, Sun Yumao was also very happy. Her husband finally had a chance to display his talent. Chapter 233. In Xia Fei's villa, almost everyone from the Xia family had arrived. Xia Chaonan, Xia Chaobei, Xia Huang and Xia Chaoxin were also there. Previously, Xia Fei had told them that the White Fox hero had succeeded in robbing the Sun family's medicinal herbs. Hence, Xia Chaonan hurriedly sent Xia Huang to the Warriors Guild to deliver the medicinal herbs. Although he did not expect the Warriors Market to buy all of them, it would at least relieve some of the pressure. Unexpectedly, Alchemist Sun wasn't there, only Alchemist Gu was there. Alchemist Gu was a very upright person, so he accepted all of the Xia clan's medicinal materials, which made Xia Huang very happy. The Xia family was supposed to hold a family meeting to discuss how to take advantage of this opportunity to develop the Xia family's future. Xia Fei was a very important figure in the Xia family, so she had to attend every family meeting. However, Xia Chaonan thought about it. He was afraid that after Hero White Fox robbed the Sun family, he would come looking for Xia Fei. He wanted to develop the relationship between concubine Xia and swordsman White Fox. How disappointed would swordsman White Fox be if he couldn't see concubine Xia? Therefore, Xia Chaonan brought his family to concubine Xia's villa and held a family meeting there. The Xia Emperor came back and excitedly told him about today's events. Xia Chaonan was also very happy. This time, the Xia family had delivered more than 10 million worth of medicinal herbs, which suddenly relieved a lot of pressure on the family. "Xiao Fei, I really have to thank Hero White Fox for this matter. You must thank him properly," Xia Chaonan said excitedly. Xia Fei was a little embarrassed. "Big brother, something happened." At this time, Xia Chaobei received a short message. His expression changed as he said to Xia Chaonan, "What happened? What's wrong?" Xia Chaonan was taken aback. The Xia family had just experienced a great event. Why did something happen again? The Sun family is in trouble, not ours. Xia Chaobei was stunned when he saw everyone's nervous expression. Only then did he realize that his words were a little vague. He quickly explained, "It's Sun Rongqin." "Something happened to Sun Rongqin? What do you mean?" Xia Chaonan was puzzled. "Wasn't Sun Rongqin robbed by swordsman White Fox? We all know about this, right? It's not a robbery. Ma Feng is dead." Xia Chaobei's expression was very strange at the moment. He put the phone's contents on the table and said to everyone. This was sent by an informant of the Xia family in the Sun family. Every time he would contact Xia Chaobei. He was responsible for the family's external relations and other matters. "What?" Xia Chaonan was startled and stood up abruptly. Concubine Xia and Emperor Xia were also stunned. Xie Chaoxing was also stunned. Why did another member of the Sun family die? Was it killed by Hero White Fox? Emperor Xie took a deep breath and asked. I don't know, but it must be. Xie Chaobei said, otherwise, do you think there would be such a coincidence? Xie Chaonan also had a lingering fear in his heart. Xiao Fei, this White Fox hero you found is really a ruthless person. He kills people without a trace. You must have a good relationship with him. Try your best to go along with him. Don't go against him or else, it shouldn't be. Hero White Fox is still quite easygoing. Concubine Xie remembered that she teased Xiaoqin before. It seemed that Xiaoqin didn't do anything to her. That's because he has a good relationship with you. Look at this Sun Rongqing. You only met him once and he was killed. This is simply a big devil who kills without blinking an eye. The most terrifying thing is that if he wants to kill someone, you can't guard against it at all. He just met you once and you will die. He kills people without a trace. Xie Chaonan said. I know. I will get along with him. Concubine Xie nodded. Thank him tonight. Emperor Xie looked at his sister with a smile that wasn't a smile. I'm ignoring you. Concubine Xie was a little embarrassed. Xiao Fei, you misunderstood. I'm saying that we can increase his remuneration. I feel that what he did has exceeded the 10 million yuan. He wants to make the Sun family extinct. This trick is more effective than anything else. He simply and crudely killed everyone in the Sun family. Then the Sun family won't be able to compete with us anymore. They won't even have a chance to make a comeback. Emperor Xie said with a smile. Yeah, this White Fox hero is really ruthless. Every Sun family comes out, he kills them. Then he kills them again. I think there will be no one left in the Sun family in the future. Xie Chaonan nodded in agreement. However, this is also an opportunity for our Xie family. As long as we can be on good terms with Hero White Fox, who will dare to provoke our Xie family in the future? The Sun family is an example. This time the Sun family was unjust first. Hero White Fox helped us, but if we take the initiative to bully others, I don't think Hero White Fox will take action. Concubine Xie shook her head. Why do you say that? Xie Chaonan was stunned and asked quickly. I don't know. It's just a hunch, Concubine Xie said. Then don't think so much. Our Xie family has always been kind to others. If people don't offend us, we won't offend them. I don't think we will make things difficult for Hero White Fox, Xie Chaonan said. Yes. Concubine Xie nodded. Warriors Market. When Sun Yukai rushed to the Warriors Market, he was a step too late. Xie Huang from the Xie family had already left with the Warriors Guild's transfer and completed the handover of the medicinal herbs. This made Sun Yukai a little depressed. Old Gu, have you checked carefully? Are the medicinal herbs sent by the Xie family up to standard? Sun Yukai asked unwillingly. The quality is not bad. It's similar to the quality of the medicinal herbs sent by the Sun family last time, Medicine Master Gu said. Said Medicine Master Gu. In fact, although Medicine Master Gu was an honest and good person, he was not without wisdom. He said this to seal Medicine Master Sun's mouth. Just like the Sun family, Medicine Master Gu couldn't find fault with him, right? Unexpectedly, Medicine Master Sun was still not satisfied. Is that so? Then let's go to the warehouse together. After all, I am the chief medicine master. I have to be responsible for the quality of the medicinal herbs. All right. Seeing Medicine Master Sun's insistence, Medicine Master Gu had no choice but to nod. The two of them walked to the warehouse together. However, although they were medicine masters, they could not enter and exit the warehouse as they pleased. After all, the warehouse was an important place, the core of the market. Those who were not the president and the shopkeeper's trusted aides could not take over this position. Elder Ma, please open the warehouse. I want to check the medicinal herbs sent by the Xie family. I was not here just now. Medicine Master Gu signed for it. However, I am the chief medicine master, so I have to be responsible for the quality of the medicinal herbs. Medicine Master Sun said respectfully to the warehouse manager. One had to know that Elder Ma managed several warehouses in the market. The pills they refined were also kept by Elder Ma. It could be said that Elder Ma's position was not any lower than his. All right. Elder Ma nodded. Medicine Master Sun's request seemed reasonable, so he could not refuse. After opening the warehouse door, Medicine Master Gu brought Medicine Master Sun to the location of the medicinal herbs that the Xie family had provided. He said to Medicine Master Sun, Medicine Master Sun, the medicinal herbs are here. Please check them. All right, let me see. Actually, Sun Yukai wanted to find a few medicinal herbs that were inferior to the Sun families. Even if he found one or two, he could use it as a pretext to deduct a portion of the deposit from the Xie family. One had to know that although the Xie family could receive payment from the warrior guild every time, there was always a sum of money that had not been paid by the warrior guild. It could be considered a deposit. If there were any problems with the supply in the future, the deposit could also be deducted. The next time they supplied the goods, they had to make up for the deposit. Otherwise, they would not be able to continue supplying the goods. This was the most effective way that Medicine Master Sun could think of. However, he was disappointed that the quality of the Xie family's medicinal herbs was higher. He could not find any inferior goods. Not even the inferior goods that the Sun family provided. After checking for a long time, he did not find anything wrong. Medicine Master Sun could only give up. He turned around and was about to leave with a black face. However, after taking 2 steps, he pointed at another pile of medicinal herbs that had not been sorted out and asked curiously, "Which family supplied these medicinal herbs? When did they get here? Why are there so many of them?" "I don't know. I didn't take over this." Medicine Master Gu shook his head. Medicine Master Sun was a little puzzled. He walked over to take a look and his face immediately changed. This was because he had recognized the source of this batch of medicinal herbs. However, to confirm his guess, he carefully checked these medicinal herbs again. After checking, his face became even uglier. These were clearly the medicinal herbs that were robbed from the Sun family in the morning. On top of them, there was a unique mark on the rope that the Sun family used to tie the medicinal herbs. Moreover, after this batch of medicinal herbs was purchased, Medicine Master Sun checked the Sun family again and threw out the medicinal herbs that definitely could not be counted as qualified. He let the Sun family sell them through other pharmacies and kept the qualified ones. Therefore, Sun Yukai was very familiar with these medicinal herbs. These were definitely the medicinal herbs that were kidnapped in the morning. How did they end up in the warehouse of the warriors' market? Which supplier had the guts to do such a thing? Weren't they afraid of the Sun family and Medicine Master Sun's revenge? Seeing that his own medicinal herbs were here, Medicine Master Sun was immediately furious. He quickly walked to the warehouse supervisor Old Ma and said to him, "Old Ma, who sent this batch of medicinal herbs? Why didn't Medicine Master Gu and I know about it? Aren't they looking down on us pharmacists? If something happens to a pharmacist, who can take responsibility?" "Which batch?" Old Ma asked calmly. "The batch over there," Medicine Master Sun said as he pointed at the Sun family's medicinal herbs. "That was directly arranged by the higher-ups. It belongs to the Hong Consortium's unified allocation of goods. Why would they need to inform you?" Old Ma curled his lips and said calmly. This Medicine Master Sun really thought too highly of himself. These were medicinal herbs that shopkeeper Tai had personally sent over. What? Arranged by the higher-ups? Unified allocation of goods by the Hong Consortium? That's impossible. Medicine Master Sun cried out in shock. Chapter 234. How could he believe it? This was obviously the stolen goods that the Sun family had lost. How could it be arranged by the Hong Chamber of Commerce? If you don't believe me, you can go and ask Manager Tai yourself. You can also ask the guild leaders of the Warriors Guild. I'm just a warehouse manager. I cannot answer such a profound question, Senior Ma said indifferently. Huh. Alchemist Sun's expression froze. How would he dare to ask? Wasn't that overstepping his authority? He was a chief apothecary. Although it sounded very awesome, it still depended on who he was in front of. In front of Manager Tai and the other presidents and vice presidents of the Hong Chamber of Commerce, he was nothing. Thinking of this, Sun Yukai took a deep breath and calmed himself down. I'm sorry, Old Ma. I'm doing this for the good of the martial artists market. I'm afraid that the quality of the herbs might not be good. Since it's arranged by the higher-ups, there shouldn't be a problem. I'll take my leave first. All right. Old Ma's expression became much better after hearing Alchemist Sun's explanation. He nodded. Alchemist Sun didn't dare to say that the herbs were stolen from the Sun family. Wouldn't that be questioning his superiors? Furthermore, Senior Ma did not know about this. Saying this would be akin to slandering the higher-ups behind their backs. Senior Ma did not dare to do that. Apothecary Gu felt strange about Apothecary Sun's actions, but he didn't think much about it. He shook his head and followed Apothecary Sun out of the warehouse. After Alchemist Sun returned, he did not communicate with anyone else. He directly left the warriors' market and drove back to the Sun family. He had to tell Sun Xiaonong about such an important matter as soon as possible. Moreover, it was a matter of great importance. He couldn't speak carelessly over the phone. If he was monitored, it wouldn't be good. Sun Xiaonong felt strange about Medicine Master Sun's return. Could it be that he knew the Sun clan hadn't finished their clan meeting, so he came back to attend? However, it was almost over now. What was the use of Medicine Master Sun's return? However, Sun Xiaonong still respected Medicine Master Sunday. When he saw him enter the meeting room, he said, "Yukai, you're back. Let's continue the meeting." "Uncle, let's talk about the meeting later. I have something important to tell you." After Sun Yukai sat down, he waved his hand and said, "We have news about the medicinal herbs that were robbed this morning." "There's news? Found it? Could it be that someone had gone to the martial artists' market to dispose of stolen goods? This is simply too daring." Sun Yuming guessed after listening. "That's right, I did find it, and it was also in the warriors' market's warehouse. However, it wasn't me who took it." Medicine Master Sun nodded and said seriously, "Is that the one with the surname Go?" Sun Yoli frowned. He also knew that there was Apothecary Go in the martial artists' market. Apothecary G's alchemy skills were not inferior to Apothecary Sun's. He was a potential competitor of Apothecary Sunday. It's not him either. According to Old Ma, who's in charge of the warehouse, it's the higher-up's idea. At this point, Medicine Master Sun had a strange expression on his face. In other words, this is the limit of my abilities. I don't have the authority and I don't dare to ask my superiors. What? From the top? Sun Xiaonong's eyes widened. "Yukai, you mean this herb was snatched by the people from the Warriors Market Square or the Warriors Guild?" Medicine Master Sun nodded and said, "That's hard to say, but I don't think Old Ma would lie to me. There's no need for him to lie to me about this kind of thing. He wouldn't dare to say anything that was arranged by the higher-ups." "Which higher-ups? Did he say?" Sun Xiaonong frowned and asked. "No, he only said that it was Shopkeeper Tai who personally informed him. However, Shopkeeper Tai is in charge of the Warriors Market. However, the higher-ups could be Shopkeeper Tai, or the Warriors Guild's president or vice president," Medicine Master Sun said. "The Warriors Guild's vice president." Sun Xiaonong pondered for a moment and slammed the table. "F***CK. I know, it must be the vice president with the surname Qin." "The vice president with the surname Qin? Qin Jinping's father, Qin Huanling?" Sun Yuming also thought of this person at once. The Sun family was very familiar with the affairs of these aristocratic families. Therefore, they were able to connect the dots directly. Yes, didn't they say that the batch of herbs might have been snatched by Xiao Chen's underling, Qin Jinping? Doesn't this make sense? Sun Yoli also nodded and said, "Qin Jinping and Qin Huanling are from the same family. What a good scheme. The son robbed the father to dispose of the stolen goods, and he even took the high-level route so that the Sun family could only suffer in silence and not dare to ask about it. If that's the case, then it really is possible." Medicine Master Sun thought for a moment and suddenly realized. So this was the relationship between the two families. However, even if he knew that it was Qin Huanling's doing, there was nothing he could do. How could he, a chief medicine master, dare to go against the vice president? The vice president was a high-level leader similar to the shopkeeper. He could only be regarded as a middle-level manager. "Yukai, according to what you said, if we go to Qin Huanling to reason with him, is there any chance that he will return the herbs to me or give us some money as compensation?" Sun Xiaonong thought for a moment and asked, "For example, now that we have something on him, if we report it to the president of the Warrior Guild and Shopkeeper Tai of the Warrior Market, will he be able to bear the consequences?" "Uncle, you're underestimating President Qin of the Warrior Guild. Although he can't cover the sky with one hand, he still has a lot of power. When he is punished, as long as he doesn't step down, our Sun family will suffer in the future." Medicine Master Sun smiled bitterly. "But this is robbery. Will the Warrior Guild and the Warrior Market tolerate them?" Sun Xiaonong was a little annoyed. In this matter, both sides have their reasons. Qin Jinping can completely say that he is standing up for the boss. He is loyal and righteous. Medicine Master Sun said helplessly, "In the end, this matter will become our Sun family's Sun Rongjin being a bully. How do you think the Warrior Guild will deal with that? I'm afraid they will be punished 50 times each, right? Moreover, the cause is our Sun family and we are the ones who filed the complaint first. When the time comes, do you think we will be better off?" "Yukai, what you said makes sense." Sun Xiaonong carefully thought about the cause and effect of this matter. In the end, the Sun family might really have to blame it on themselves. There was really no other way. Moreover, this matter is just a guess. Rongqin is already dead and dead men tell no tales. Red hair is not our Sun family, so if we say it out, the effect will be much weaker. Sun Yukai said, therefore the most important thing now is to see if we can start with Qin Jinping. First, investigate whether he is the one who did this. If he is, since the Qin family likes to play dirty, we will also play dirty. When the time comes, we will give him an accidental death. Oh. Then can't Qin Huanling investigate when the time comes? Sun Xiaonong was stunned. It was true that he wanted to seek justice, but he had never thought of killing Qin Jinping. After all, Qin Jinping was the son of Vice Chairman Qin, such a high and mighty existence. It's true that Qin Huanling has a lot of power in the warrior guild, but he's just a newly appointed vice chairman. He doesn't have any trusted aides, so it's impossible for him to investigate the truth. Medicine Master Sun sneered. Plus, we need to create an accident. Didn't their Qin Jinkuan die in a car accident? But isn't it too much of a coincidence to have another car accident? Sun Xiaonong was a little tempted. To be honest, they clearly had the upper hand and could suppress the Xie family, but in the end the herbs were snatched away. This was really F***ket up. Rongqin and Rongjin both died on horseback. Isn't that a coincidence? Sun Yukai smiled faintly. There are too many coincidences in this world. Moreover, the car accident is an example. We can let him die in a robbery. Yukai, are you sure that Qin Huanling won't find out the truth? Sun Xiaonong asked. If Qin Huanling was the vice chairman of the warrior guild for a period of time and trained some trusted aides to gather information, then it might be possible. But he only took the position this year. Sun Yukai laughed. If he didn't become the vice chairman, he would be nothing. Okay, let's do it. Sun Xiaonong was very unhappy that he had lost 2 grandsons. He blamed the accident on Qin Jinping. Yuming Yuli, put down your work and investigate Qin Jinping to see if he is suspicious. Yes. Sun Yuming and Sun Yuli replied. Killing Qin Jinping could be considered as a form of revenge for their dead sons. Medicine Master Sun couldn't stay for too long. After the meeting, he hurried back to the warriors' market. The Sun family, on the other hand, began to move. What surprised Sun Xiaonong was that very soon the people below came back with news. The Volkswagen that Qin Jinping was driving was the one that Sun Rongjin had lost. Although the license plate had been changed, according to the investigation the license plate was fake. It was the same model of car from the Qin family group. The car's identification code revealed the car's real identity. Of course, few people would notice these small details. Damn, it really is Qin Jinping. Sun Xiaonong slammed the table angrily. This time, he was completely sure that the person who had rescued Kerlin from the villa was Xiao Chen's underling. It was most likely Qin Jinping. Otherwise, why would Qin Jinping be driving the car? Today's robbery was also in this car. Thinking about the higher-ups arrangement that Medicine Master Sun had mentioned, Sun Xiaonong was even more certain this time. Father, when should we do it? Sun Yuming hated Qin Jinping very much. In his opinion, if Qin Jinping hadn't robbed his son Sun Rongqin's medicinal herbs, Sun Rongqin wouldn't have gone home to vent his anger on the little model. These were all related, so he was the most anxious. Of course, the sooner the better. Yukai is right. Let's create a robbery. Sun Xiaonong said, in this case Yuming, you take Guardian Zhao with you. He is a stage 6 inner force warrior. It's enough for him to kill Qin Jinping. Sun Xiaonong was also ruthless. He didn't make a move, but once he did, he wanted to kill Qin Jinping with one blow. Chapter 235. Therefore he sent out the strongest martial artist. After all, Qin Jinping was also a martial artist. Yes, father. Should I act according to the circumstances? Sun Yuming nodded and asked. Yes, it's best to find a place with few people. Find a chance in the next few days. Sun Xiaonong nodded. Don't do it in a crowded place. I understand. Sun Yuming was not a fool. I won't bring trouble to the Sun family. Xiao Qin finished the business at hand, put away the medicinal materials that he exchanged for a cart of medicinal materials and rushed to the school. However, on the way to the school, to Xiao Chen's surprise, he received a call from Miss Cheng. Hey Missy, what's the matter? He was trembling with fear. He didn't know if yesterday's incident was over or not. Although Xiao Chen felt that yesterday's incident was a bit innocent, touching was touching. And if there was a chance, he wanted to touch again. Xiao Chen, where are you? Qing Minjing's voice was a little anxious. I'm outside. I'll be at the school soon. What's wrong? Xiao Chen asked. Then you don't have to come to the school. Go directly to the first city hospital. Tang Tang suddenly fainted. Bebe and I took her to the hospital. Qing Minjing said. Although the relationship between Qing Minjing and Tang Tang was not very good, they had eaten together. Besides, Tang Tang was related to Xiao Chen, so she couldn't just ignore it. Seeing Tang Tang fainted on the roadside of the school, she hurried to the hospital with Jean Beibei. After an emergency examination and infusion, Tang Tang's condition stabilized. Then Qing Menjing remembered to call Xiao Chen. What? Tang Tang fainted? Xiao Chen was suddenly shocked. Why did she faint? Didn't she recover from the cold before? Did she get tired from selling fried dough sticks on the morning street for the past 2 days? Although Tang Tang used to sell fried dough sticks on the morning market street, the number of customers at that time was not as large as it was now. Now because of Xiao Chen, the number of customers had skyrocketed, so Tang Tang's workload had increased a lot, so it was very likely that she was tired and sick. Thinking of this, Xiao Chen suddenly felt a little guilty. After rushing to the first hospital of Songning City, Xiao Chen saw Jean Beibei's iconic Nouveau Riche Panamera at the entrance of the hospital, with the words, Nouveau Riche Jean Beibei's car, plastered on the back. I'm here. Where are you now? How is Tang Tang? As soon as Xiao Chen entered the hospital, he called Qing Menjing. We are in the ICU on the 7th floor, Ward 715. Qing Menjing said, Tang Tang is not out of danger yet. What? Critical period? Didn't he just faint? Xiao Chen was a little stunned. How could he be in a critical state? No matter how tired Tang Tang was, she wouldn't be in danger. Let's talk about it when you come. Qing Menjing couldn't explain it clearly on the phone. Okay. Xiao Chen nodded and glanced around. There were too many people waiting for the elevator, so Xiao Chen quickly went up the stairs and ran all the way to the 7th floor in one go. He arrived at the door of Ward 715 and pushed the door open. Shoo. Seeing that Xiao Chen was about to speak, Qing Menjing immediately made a shushing gesture and then said softly, Let's talk outside. Xiao Chen nodded and walked to Tang Tang's bed. He saw several tubes inserted into Tang Tang's body, and there were several computer screens beside her. He didn't know what kind of data they were showing. Tang Tang looked very haggard and pale. Xiao Chen didn't know why. He took a deep breath and walked out of the ward. Qing Menjing also walked out of the ward with Xiao Chen, but she didn't see Jean Beibei. She asked, Where's Beibei? We didn't bring so much money before, so the hospital didn't allow us to go through the hospitalization procedures. Jean Beibei directly called Grandpa Jean. As a result, their dean came down and is in the specialist room over there. He is analyzing Tang Tang's condition. Let's go and have a look together. Qing Menjing sighed. Okay. What's wrong with Tang Tang? Asked Xiao Chen. I don't know. But something inside her body must be acting up. Qing Menjing said, Let's go and have a look together. Okay. Xiao Chen also knew that Miss Qing didn't know medical skills. She wouldn't explain it clearly even if he asked her. So he went to the specialist room not far away with Miss Qing. Miss Qing, you're here. In the specialist room, a middle-aged man at the head saw Qing Menjing coming in and immediately stood up. He was the dean of this hospital. Obviously, he had already known Qing Menjing's identity. She was the eldest daughter of the Qing family and the eldest daughter of the Jean family. Although Tang Tang was abandoned by the Tang family, she was still a member of the Tang family. She had many powerful identities, but she was turned away at the door. The dean was a little scared. How is she? Xiao Chen asked directly. Miss Tang's condition is not very good. The dean glanced at Xiao Chen. Seeing that Qing Menjing didn't say anything, he said. Although he didn't know Xiao Chen since he came in with Qing Menjing, his identity was obviously not simple. Besides, Qing Menjing didn't object to his words. What do you mean by not very good? What's wrong with her? Xiao Chen asked. The specific situation is like this. Miss Tang had a strange disease before. At that time, the Tang family also brought her to me for treatment, but I couldn't do anything about it. The dean slowly said, later the Tang family looked for doctors everywhere. Finally, they met a great pharmacist who prepared several medicinal materials for her. However, when she took these medicinal materials, it was a kind of treatment with poison. The previous problems in her body were suppressed, but new problems arose. These medicinal materials were like hormones which caused Miss Tang's endocrine imbalance so that her weight increased rapidly. I know that. But what's wrong with her now? Xiao Chen nodded, indicating that he roughly understood what the dean said. The problem now is that the problem that was suppressed before has become a problem again. The dean said, she used to have a kind of toxin in her body. This toxin doesn't enter her body through the outside world, but is produced by her own secretion. So the medicinal materials that were suppressed before are not enough to suppress it anymore. I see. Can't she take some of those medicinal materials to suppress it? Xiaoqun asked. The medicinal materials that are suppressed are also poisonous. If you want to take them, you must be very precise. Otherwise, the problem will be bigger. The dean smiled bitterly and said, furthermore, it's hard to say whether her body can withstand the medicinal ingredients and whether there will be any backlash. Although I'm also a pharmacist, my rank is relatively low, so I don't dare to try in this aspect. Right now we're just keeping her alive. That is to say, there is no other way? Xiaoqun frowned. There is nothing I can do. I'm sorry. The dean spread out his hands and said. Xiaoqun didn't blame him. After all, the dean's ability was limited and he couldn't force him to do anything. However, Xiaoqun was really in a dilemma now. He thought that Tang Tang was tired, but now it seemed that it was not the case. However, it was also difficult to find the pharmacist who prepared the medicine. It was the Tang family who found him. Now that Tang Tang was abandoned by the Tang family would not care about her life or death. Where could he find the pharmacist now? The Tang family didn't care. What about Yu Xiaochuan? Perhaps Yu Xiaochuan didn't care either. If Tang Tang died, it would be done once and for all. His engagement would be automatically dissolved. However, the only person that Xiaoqun could think of to consult was Yu Xiaochuan. Thinking of this, Xiaoqun dialed Yu Xiaochuan's phone. Oh, it's Xiaoqun. What can I do for you? Yu Xiaochuan had been thinking about how to find the Xianin woman with the characteristics of the blood these 2 days. According to the introduction, this kind of Xianin woman could only be found in the blood test that had just been drawn. After a long time, the activity of this characteristic would weaken, and it would not be seen. Therefore, he couldn't go to the blood bank to find it. However, where could he draw the blood of a large number of girls? Yu Xiaochuan had been thinking for several days, but he couldn't come up with a good way. Here's the thing. Tang Tang is sick again. It's the previous disease. You should know about it, right? Xiaoqun said directly. Oh, I know. So Tang Tang is dying? Yu Xiaochuan couldn't help but feel excited. If Tang Tang died this time, then he could completely get rid of Tang Tang. No, it's not a problem to maintain her life, but she may be in a vegetative state in the future. Xiaoqun said, you also understand, young Master Kun. Although I like Tang Tang a little, it's meaningless for me to come to a vegetative state. I'm afraid I can't complete the task you gave me. What? Vegetative state? Yu Xiaochuan couldn't help but curse in his heart. Damn it. She didn't die, but she was still in a vegetative state. Now, he still couldn't get rid of the engagement. If Tang Tang became a vegetative state, he would be even more stressed. He was a gentleman. Now that Tang Tang was in a vegetative state, it was even more impossible for him to abandon her. Previously, he had found an excuse that Xiaoqun liked Tang Tang so he could get rid of Tang Tang. But now that Tang Tang was in a vegetative state and Xiaoqun didn't want her anymore, wouldn't he have to pick her up? Thinking of this, Yu Xiaochuan was really depressed. He was very happy to get the chrysanthemum book in the past few days, but now there was such a mess. In desperation, he had to say, Xiaoqun, don't worry. I know the pharmacist who prescribed the medicine for Tang Tang. So, I'll contact you first, and then let him contact you to help you prepare a medicinal material. What do you think? Okay, but I don't have money. Is it a lot of money? Asked Xiaoqun. Don't worry about money. I'll take care of it for you. Yu Xiaochuan said, well, wait for my news. Okay, young Master Kun, I'll wait for your good news. Xiaoqun breathed a sigh of relief and hung up the phone. Chapter 236. Okay, I'll wait for your news. Xiaoqun hung up the phone and breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that he had successfully fooled Yu Xiaochuan. Otherwise, this guy would have hoped that Tang Tang would die. Now that Tang Tang was alive, he wanted to save her as soon as possible. Elder Heaven Ancestor, do you know about her situation? Do you think that with the ability of us cultivators we can save her? Xiaoqun asked in his heart. Don't flatter me. With the ability of cultivators they can definitely save her. For the great divines they are omnipotent. Elder Heaven Ancestor said, but you can't do it with your current strength. I'm just a soul and I can't use my original strength. Can the dregs do it? Xiaoqun asked. Yes, but it can't cure the root cause. Elder Heaven Ancestor said, moreover, it must be the dregs of the medicine she has taken recently, and you need to add a medicinal material. What do you mean by treating the symptoms but not the root cause? Xiaoqun was relieved when he heard that there was a way. Whether there was any news from Yu Xiaochuan or not, he was not worried. Before, her treatment method was to fight poison with poison. She used the medicine to suppress the toxins that were originally secreted in her body. This is also one of the ways to treat the symptoms but not the root cause. Elder Heaven Ancestor said, "The method I mentioned is to expel the toxins secreted in her body and the poison that was used to suppress it. In this way she will not have a problem in the short term. But after a long time the toxins will still be secreted in her body." "What if I keep taking this kind of drugs?" Xiao Qin asked after listening. "Yes, but the effect will be weakened each time. But as your level increases you can use your drugs later," Elder Heaven Ancestor said. "That's good." As long as there was a way, Xiao Qin was relieved. At this time Yu Xiaochuan called back, "Master Kun, is there any news?" "I say, Xiao Qin, did you offend Medicine Master Sun?" Yu Xiaochuan was very depressed. He called Medicine Master Sun, who had prescribed the medicine for Tang Tang. Medicine Master Sun had agreed before, but when he heard that he wanted to contact Xiao Qin, he directly refused. He would not accept the business no matter how much money it was. While feeling depressed, Yu Xiaochuan hurriedly gave Xiao Qin a call. The one who started the trouble had to be the one who started it. Since Xiao Qin was the one who caused the trouble, Yu Xiaochuan could not help him. He could only ask Xiao Qin what was going on and let Xiao Qin beg Medicine Master Sun himself. "Medicine Sun? Which Medicine Master Sun?" Xiao Qin was stunned by Yu Xiaochuan's words. "It's the martial artist market's Medicine Master Sunday. You don't know him?" Yu Xiaochuan was also stunned. Why did it sound like Xiao Qin did not know Medicine Master Sun? "What does it have to do with me, Xiao Qin? When did I offend him?" "I don't know either. From what he said, it seems like you instigated your underlings to have a conflict with his family." Yu Xiaochuan didn't understand, but he got the gist of it. "Xiao Qin, it doesn't sound like a big conflict. What's going on? My little brother? Do I even have underlings?" Xiao Qin retorted. "That was before?" Yu Xiaochuan was also a little confused. "Yeah, where was Xiao Qin's underling?" "Forget it, let's not care about him. I'll think of another way. In the past, my father left me a medicinal pill. I heard that it can cure hundreds of poisons. I'll find it for her to try," Xiao Qin said. "Elixir? Cure all poisons? Is this for real? There's such an amazing pill?" Yu Xiaochuan was stunned. He wanted to ask if that thing was useful. Don't eat randomly and cause problems. But thinking about it carefully, if you eat to death then everything will be fine. That's even better. If she was cured, then he didn't have to worry about her anymore. Xiao Qin could continue to be with her. If it was still like this, then it didn't matter. He would find a way to beg Medicine Master Sun. So he said, "Okay, then you try it. If it doesn't work, contact me. I'll introduce you to Medicine Master Sunday. You can talk to him, apologize, and end the matter." "Okay, I'll try it first. If it doesn't work, I'll call you," Xiao Qin said. Yu Xiaochuan hung up the phone, shook his head, and continued to study his Chrysanthemum Treasure Book and Lady of Mysterious Een. As for Xiao Qin, he returned to the specialist room. He glanced at Miss Cheng and said, "Menjing, come with me." "What's the matter?" Looking at Xiao Qin, Cheng Menjing recalled what happened yesterday. She was immediately annoyed. If they were not in public, she would have kicked him. She walked out of the specialist room with Xiao Qin. Jean Bebe also followed them sneakily like a little spy. However, to prevent Cheng Menjing and Xiao Qin from seeing them, she hid behind the screen at the door and craned her head. "Bebe, what are you doing? Come out if you want to." Cheng Menjing discovered Jean Bebe eventually. "Well, I was afraid that cousin Menjing and her husband would come out to play SM. I didn't want to disturb you." Jean Bebe grinned and crawled out from behind the screen. "Play your asteriska." Cheng Menjing glared at Jean Bebe. "Play my asteriskes? Is it the legendary riding on the head?" Jean Bebe said excitedly. "I got it. Usually it's in the hospital in the films. Cousin Menjing must want to have a try too." Jean Bebe. "What unhealthy stuff did you watch this time?" Cheng Menjing said angrily. "Didn't I watch it with cousin Menjing?" Jean Bebe asked in confusion. "You." Cheng Menjing was greatly embarrassed. She suddenly thought of something and blushed. She snorted and said, "I don't want to argue with you. Xiao Qin, what can I do for you?" Xiao Qin found it a little funny. If she had seen it, so be it. In this era, information was so advanced. It was not strange for a girl to have seen that kind of movie. Looking at Cheng Menjing's expression, it seemed like she did not want to admit it. In fact, Xiao Qin certainly would not object to it. The young lady had watched too many movies and gained experience after marriage. He had benefited from it too. Well, he was not her fiancé anymore. Xiao Qin shook his head. He was a bit confused just now. Go through the discharge procedures for her. I can treat her, said Xiaoqin. You? Qing Menjing was dazed. Don't forget who treated Grandpa Jin's wounds, said Xiaoqin. Oh, I told you that my cousin-in-law is very awesome. Let's get out of the hospital. Jin Beibei sniffed. Just now, I was going to take her to the villa and call my cousin-in-law to ask him to come back for treatment, but cousin Minjing insisted on going to the hospital. I thought that she just caught a cold or something. I didn't know that it would be a serious problem. Qing Minjing, however, said, only serious problems require my servant to deal with them. Minor problems are not worth dealing with. You are really good at making up stories, said Jin Beibei. What did you say? Qing Minjing looked at Jin Beibei and said angrily, believe it or not, I will blacklist you. I will never let you go to my house again. I didn't say anything. Jin Beibei covered her mouth with her hand. Jin Beibei went to the dean and went through the admission procedures. She didn't say much but only said that she had found an awesome pharmacist and planned to have a look at him. Of course the dean wouldn't say no. Besides, he couldn't treat her here. If something really happened to her, he wouldn't be able to explain it to the two ladies of the Jin family and the Qing family. After sending us home you can go to school, said Xiaoqin. Can you really treat her? Asked Qing Minjing after a moment of hesitation. Yes, no problem. Xiaoqin nodded. Great. Qing Minjing and Jin Beibei sent Xiaoqin home and then left. Xiaoqin put Tang Tang in the BMW X5 first. Then he took the dregs of the decoction and drove to Hongzhu's pharmacy. After parking the car at the entrance, Xiaoqin entered the pharmacy. Hongzhu was a little surprised to see Xiaoqin. Why are you back? Are you here to give me money again? At this moment Hongzhu's eyes were full of yen and dollar. No, I'm here to buy medicine. Do you have heavenly purity grass? A Xiaoqin. According to the elder heaven ancestor, he needed a kind of medicine called heavenly purity grass. Heavenly purity grass? Hongzhu was a little surprised. Then she said, although this kind of medicine is not very precious, it's not very useful. I don't have it in stock. If you can wait, I can make it for you. A few days? I'm a little anxious. Xiaoqin didn't know how long she could hold on. If you're anxious, go to the warrior's market and buy one. You should know where the warrior's market is, right? Hongzhu didn't care. Selling a medicine would not make much money from Xiaoqin. She didn't want to waste too much money. You have it in the warrior's market? Thank you. Xiaoqin nodded and turned around to leave. Hey little brother, are you leaving just like that? Don't you want to chat with the cute big sister Hongzhu for a while? Hongzhu's charming voice sounded behind Xiaoqin. What do you want to talk about? Asked Xiaoqin. What do you want to do with heavenly purity grass? Asked Hongzhu. Why do you ask? Xiaoqin asked. Hongzhu was slightly taken aback. Then she said, forget it, it's boring. I'm just asking. Big sister can't be curious. Alright, I'll be leaving first. Xiaoqin turned around and prepared to leave. Then don't forget about big sister if you have any other cheap medicine or good things to do. Hongzhu called out from behind. Okay. Xiaoqin said. It turned out that Hongzhu was addicted to receiving stolen goods. He drove all the way to the warrior's market. Because he was worried about Tang Tang, Xiaoqin drove very fast. When he was about to reach the warrior's guild, he came out of a fork in the road. There was only one road left. However, a Porsche Cayenne came from another fork in the road. Xiaoqin stepped on the accelerator and drove into the road leading to the warrior's guild. However, after the Porsche Cayenne followed him, it seemed to be a little annoyed that Xiaoqin had taken the initiative to cut into its lane. It kept flashing its headlights behind Xiaoqin and kept honking its horn. Is this guy sick? Xiaoqin frowned and pulled the car to the side. He wanted to let the guy pass first. Of course, with Xiaoqin's driving skills, it wouldn't be a problem to race with him for one lap. However, Tang Tang was currently in the car. Xiaoqin didn't want to do anything dangerous, so he took a step back. Chapter 237. However, who would have thought that after the Cayenne overtook Xiaoqin, it did not continue to accelerate. Instead, it stopped in front of Xiaoqin's car for a moment before continuing to drive forward. This action made Xiaoqin speechless. However, with Xiaoqin's driving skills, it was unlikely that he would crash into it. Xiaoqin really did not understand how he had provoked him. Was it wrong for him to be one step faster than him? However, Xiaoqin did not have any thoughts of revenge. He planned to wait for him to leave before leaving. However, the car in front obviously had no intention of letting Xiaoqin go. When Xiaoqin began to drive, he also began to slow down. Then he suddenly braked in front of Xiao Chen and quickly stepped on the accelerator to leave. This repeated a few times. If it was not for Xiao Chen's good driving skills, he would have crashed into him. Of course, if it was someone else, it would be hard to say. Was this person crazy? However, with the principle of not causing trouble, Xiao Chen tolerated it. After all, the person who came to the warrior guild was likely to be a powerful martial artist. Xiao Chen did not want to have a conflict with this kind of person. Xiao Chen's current identity was Xiao Chen, not the white fox. He could not kill whoever he wanted. Therefore, he was played by the person in front of him all the way to the entrance of the warrior's market. Xiao Chen did not expect that this person was also going to the warrior's market. After he parked the car, Xiao Chen found another place to park the car. Then he got out of the car and prepared to buy the sky-clearing grass. He did not care about the Porsche Cayenne's owner. However, from the corner of his eyes, Xiao Chen saw that the Porsche Cayenne's owner was a man in his 40s. He was a Stage 1 Inner Force martial artist. This made Xiao Chen very speechless. You're just a Stage 1 Inner Force martial artist, yet you're still acting tough in front of me? If you were to meet another person with superior strength, they might beat you to death and you wouldn't even be able to reason with them. If you provoke them, the Warriors Guild will not uphold justice for you. Kid, did I say you could leave? The man blocked Xiao Chen's path. Are you sick? Xiao Chen couldn't help but curse. If it wasn't that he couldn't kill on the spot, Xiao Chen would really kill him. Kid, you're pretty arrogant, huh? Are you that stupid good-for-nothing young master of the Xiao clan? The man took a closer look and saw Xiao Chen's appearance clearly. He immediately asked. Xiao Chen didn't expect this person to give him so many titles. He really didn't know what to say. Who are you? Ha, you'll be scared to death if I tell you. The man laughed loudly. I'm not afraid to tell you that I'm from the Sun family. Sun family? Xiao Chen was stunned. Could it be the Sun family from the neighboring city? I wonder if this is Sun Rong. However, the age difference between him, Sun Rongjin, and Sun Rongqin was really big. That's right. I'm the son-in-law of the Sun family. My name is Chen Aifu. Remember it? Today was Chen Aifu's first day in office. He was acting bad *SS, so he subconsciously acted bad *SS on the road. Previously he acted bad *SS on the road, but most of them were ordinary people. Their family background naturally couldn't be compared with the Sun family, so he didn't act bad *SS. When he reached the small road in front of the warrior guild, he was also used to acting bad *SS. When he arrived at the warrior market, Chen Aifu suddenly remembered that he seemed to be acting bad *SS with someone who also came to the warrior market. He couldn't help but feel a little scared. Will this person fix me after getting off the car? Although I'm a Stage 1 Inner Force martial artist, I'm only at Stage 1. I heard that this warrior market often has Stage 3 and above martial artists. Therefore, after Chen Aifu got off the car, he didn't leave. Instead, he quietly watched the person coming out of the BMW X5. If the person who came out directly rushed to fight, then Chen Aifu would admit his mistake. However, after Xiao Chen got off the car, it seemed that he tolerated this matter, so Chen Aifu suddenly became bad *. Especially after he recognized Xiao Chen, he became even more bad *. He also attended the meeting before and knew that the medicinal herbs were snatched by Xiao Chen's underling, Qin Jinping. He couldn't afford to provoke Qin Jinping, but Xiao Chen was trash and he could trample on him like a toy. Xiao Chen couldn't cultivate his inner force, so Chen Aifu wasn't afraid that Xiao Chen could turn the situation around. Moreover, Qin Jinping was also going to die. The family had already sent a Stage 6 Inner Force martial artist to kill Qin Jinping. At that time, even if he trampled on Xiao Chen badly, Chen Aifu wasn't afraid that Qin Jinping would come back for revenge. Besides, he only came to the warrior market today to take a look. When he escorted the medicinal herbs over next time, Chen Aifu would apply to Sun Xiaonong to send more guards to protect him. This was also to prevent people from robbing the medicinal herbs. Therefore, Chen Aifu wasn't afraid of Xiao Chen at all. Oh, I'll remember. Xiao Chen nodded and said, I'm sorry, I have to go buy something. Please move aside. However, Chen Iotafor slapped Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen subconsciously stretched out his hand to block it, but his arm was slapped out of shape. The joint of his elbow was bent. Ah! Xiao Chen screamed, but his eyes flashed with coldness. Originally he wanted to keep Chen Aifu, but now it seemed that it was unnecessary. Xiao Chen's left arm was bent, and his right arm, subconsciously, hit back and forth in front of him. It hit Chen Aifu a few times, but Chen Aifu didn't care at all. Trash is trash. It's like a mosquito scratching an itch. Chinayafu looked at Xiao Chen's miserable appearance, and his heart was greatly satisfied. If I go back and tell Sun Xiaonong about my great achievements, I guess he will praise me, right? Thinking of this, Chinayafu snorted coldly, "This is a lesson for you. Don't go against our Sun family if you have nothing better to do. Otherwise you will die very miserably." The conflict only happened in a flash. It only took a minute. Chinayafu was also afraid of attracting other people to watch, so he left after leaving some harsh words. Xiao Chen waited for him to leave before he entered the warrior's market with his left arm hanging. The dislocation on his arm, as long as Xiao Chen circulated the mantra, it would be a matter of minutes. However, he still had to pretend at this time. When he came to the counter selling elixirs, Xiao Chen said directly, "Do you have sky-clear grass? I want to buy one." "Yes, 40 points or 50,000 yuan, the shop assistant said. Sky-clear grass was one of the more common medicinal herbs, so the difference between points and cash wasn't particularly big. Of course, 50,000 yuan was a sky-high price for the previous Xiao Chen, but the current Xiao Chen didn't care about it. He nodded, swiped his card, took the sky-clear grass, and left the warrior's market in a hurry. In Medicine Master Sun's office, Sun Yukai listened to Chinayafu describe how he humiliated Xiao Chen. He couldn't help but smile and nod his head. He's just a piece of trash. It's troublesome to teach him a lesson. That's true. For Medicine Master Sun, you can't be bothered to do anything, but for me it's just practice. Chinayafu knew that he had to build a good relationship with Medicine Master Sunday. In the future he would have to rely on Medicine Master Sunday. What did Xiao Chen come here for? Medicine Master Sun nodded his head in satisfaction and looked at the disciple beside him. He bought a sky-clear grass and left. He swiped his card and paid with cash. The disciple quickly said, "Oh, he bought a sky-clear grass?" Medicine Master Sun couldn't help but feel strange. What was this sky-clear grass used for? This was a very common medicinal herb used for detoxification. It could remove some toxins from the body. However, the premise of using this medicinal herb was that it had to be used together with other medicinal herbs or cultivation techniques. Using it alone was similar to a laxative. There was no way to detoxify the body. To detoxify the body, one had to use other elixirs or cultivation techniques to force the toxins out of the body and then use the sky-clear grass to directly expel it. If there was no such thing, this thing was similar to those croton and phenolphthalein tablets. Spending so much money on a laxative was really not worth it. Could it be that this kid has been constipated for the past few days and bought it to take a dump? Chinayafu said with a laugh. Who knows? Forget about him. Because this medicinal herb was not an important medicinal herb, it was just very common. Therefore Medicine Master Sun didn't care. Xiao Chen wouldn't be able to do anything after buying it. Then I'll take my leave first. Medicine Master Sun's disciple knew that Medicine Master Sun had something important to say to Chinayafu, so he immediately took his leave. Alright, you can go now. Medicine Master Sun waved his hand. After the disciple left, he lowered his voice and said to Chinayafu, Old Chin, after you go back, think of a way to buy some of this in the next few days. Our warrior's market stock is running low. It will probably be announced in a few days, so be prepared in advance. With that, Medicine Master Sun handed a piece of paper to Chinayafu. Chinayafu quickly and carefully took it. When he opened it, the words "Reversal Contingency Fruit" were written on it. Alright, I understand. Thank you for your guidance, Medicine Master Sun, Chinayafu said excitedly. Alright, you can go back now. Don't come to my office directly in the future. If there's any other news, I'll get my disciple or red hair to hint to you. Medicine Master Sun said, Today the surveillance in my office was temporarily turned off. However, we can't always turn it off. Otherwise people will be suspicious. No problem, Medicine Master Sunday, don't worry, I won't cause you any trouble. I'll take my leave first. Chinayafu's expression turned serious. He quickly said and got up to leave. Alright, you can go now. Medicine Master Sun waved his hand, indicating that Chinayafu could leave. After Chinayafu left, Medicine Master Sun went to find someone to turn on the surveillance video. As for Chinayafu, after he went downstairs, he directly drove out of the warrior's market. He didn't stay there for long. He now had two pieces of good news in his hands. When he went back, he wanted to show his family, especially Old Man Sunday. He wanted everyone to see that Chinayafu was also very useful. As soon as he went out, he did two big things. All these years he had been holding it in. Now that he finally had a chance to show off, how could he let go of such a rare opportunity? Chapter 238. Chinayafu was very excited. Maybe when he went back, Sun Yumao would reward him with full service at night. Previously, the Sun family had become more and more powerful over the years, and Sun Yumao's attitude towards him had become colder. The Sun family didn't value Chinayafu, and even Sun Yumao felt that he was incompetent. Therefore, in terms of the marital life, they usually handled it carelessly, which made Chinayafu very depressed. However, as the son-in-law of the Sun family who was becoming more and more powerful, Chinayafu still didn't dare to go out and fool around. If he was caught by the Sun family, he would die a terrible death. Although his life was a little depressed now, at least the money he earned was enough to spend. If the Sun family really found trouble with him, his future life would definitely be even more unpleasant. Fortunately, Sun Yumao was like his name and he was really good-looking. Moreover, this kind of middle-aged woman was even more attractive, so Chinayafu was very excited just thinking about it. He drove all the way back to the Sun family, and directly walked to elder son, Sun Xiaonong's villa. He didn't expect Sun Xiaonong and the Sun family to still be there, and they were discussing how to deal with Chen Jinping. "Ayafu, why are you back so soon?" Sun Xiaonong looked at Chinayafu strangely. In his opinion, Chinayafu should be at the warrior guild, getting close to Medicine Master Sunday father-in-law. "I went to the warrior market to do two things." Speaking of this, Chinayafu was a little proud, especially in front of so many people from the Sun family. He could finally hold his head high for once. "Oh, what things?" Sun Xiaonong asked. "The first thing is, I met Xiao Qin on the way to the warrior guild." Chinayafu said, "I saw him. Isn't that the useless Xiao family's Xiao Qin? I thought about it, isn't he Chen Jinping's boss? So I thought, I want to teach him a lesson to vent our anger for the Sun family." "You met Xiao Qin? Did you vent your anger?" Sun Xiaonong was a little surprised that Xiao Qin was going to the warrior guild for, but he still asked. To be honest, Sun Xiaonong's hatred for Xiao Qin was not as great as Chen Jinping's. After all, Xiao Qin was just a figure behind the scenes and everything was done by Chen Jinping. Therefore, killing Chen Jinping would give him a refreshing sense of revenge. However, being able to teach Xiao Qin a lesson wasn't bad either. If it weren't for the fact that Xiao Qin was Cheng Minjing's servant and couldn't be killed, Sun Xiaonong might have already sent someone to kill him. "Yeah, what happened at that time was like this. I saw Xiao Qin driving, so I flashed my light at him from behind, blinding his dog eyes, and then Chen Iotafor told him about how he played tricks on Xiao Qin on the road." The Sun family suddenly laughed after listening. Although in their eyes Xiao Qin was just a playboy and was nothing, it was good to teach him a lesson. Who asked him to go against the Sun family? After that, Chen Iotafor told about how he domineeringly broke Xiao Qin's arm and almost made Xiao Qin cry. The Sun family laughed again. "Iotafor, you humiliated Xiao Qin. He won't let his underlings trouble you, right?" Sun Yumao asked with some worry. Although she looked down on Chen Iotafor was her husband after all. What he did today was domineering, which made her very happy. Especially when Chen Iotafor was put in an important position, Sun Yumao was more pleased with Chen Iotafor. Trouble? It's uncertain how long Chen Jinping can live. Sun Xiaonong waved his hand and said indifferently, "When others bully our Sun family, we have to step back aggressively. This is the potential to be promoted to an aristocratic family." "Father-in-law, you are right. However, although Chen Jinping is dead, in order to prevent the Xie family from finding trouble with us, I suggest that you send me an additional guard to escort me. Otherwise, when our medicinal herbs are robbed, the loss outweighs the gain." Chen Iotafor said his purpose. After all, if Chen Jinping was dead, there was still Zhu Yingxiong. And Iotafor's suggestion is good. I didn't consider it before. I didn't expect some people to be so crazy that they dare to rob medicinal herbs. Sun Xiaonong said, "In the future, I will let Wang Qiue from our house follow you. He is a martial artist at the 4th level of inner energy. It should be more than enough to suppress Chen Jinping and Zhu Yingxiong." "Thank you, father-in-law." Chen Iotafor was immediately overjoyed. Now he could rest easy. Therefore he continued, "There is another good news. In the warrior's market, there is a small stock of response fruit. Medicine Master Sun said that he will probably announce it in a few days, so we should prepare in advance. If there is stock, we can directly sell it when the time comes." "Okay, no problem. You handle this matter, Iotafor. Let Wang Qiue follow you and buy all the response fruit from the pharmacies in the nearby cities," Sun Xiaonong said. The response fruit was a relatively common and precious medicinal herb. Many pharmacies also sold it, but the price was relatively high, so there were fewer people who bought it. However, the Warriors Guild would usually buy it at a higher price, at least 20% difference. In this way they would earn a little more than 100,000 yuan. The key was that with Medicine Master Sun as an insider, there would be a lot of opportunities. Although 100,000 yuan was not a lot, it would add up. If there were 2 or 3 opportunities a month, it would be a few million yuan a year. Yes, father-in-law. Chen Iotafor nodded quickly. Yuming, take a look at your channel and see if you can buy a batch too, Sun Xiaonong said to Sun Yuming. Yes, father, Sun Yuming replied. The Sun family was in a joyous mood, but on Xiao Chen's side he took the Tianqing grass, the dregs and the electric pot to Tang Tang's residence. He opened the door and put Tang Tang on the bed. Then Xiao Chen began to boil the medicinal soup for Tang Tang according to Elder Heaven Ancestors' instructions. Although it could not cure the root cause, it was not a problem to treat the symptoms. As long as Xiao Chen continued to boil the medicine for her in the future, it would be fine. One day when Xiao Chen had the means to completely cure Tang Tang, he could treat her. After boiling the medicine, Xiao Chen carefully fed the medicine into Tang Tang's mouth. This was a troublesome task. Tang Tang was now unconscious, so Xiao Chen could only help her up and feed her little by little. However, Xiao Chen did not have the slightest impatience. This feeling made Xiao Chen feel very warm, as if it was what he should do. After giving the medicine to Tang Tang, Xiao Chen breathed a sigh of relief. After putting Tang Tang on the bed and covering her with the quilt, Xiao Chen asked, Elder Heaven Ancestor, when can she wake up? Is 1 dose of medicine enough? It's enough. As for the time she will wake up, at least 2 days, at most 3 days, Elder Heaven Ancestor said, she's fine. You don't have to worry too much. It's just a small problem to treat the symptoms. That's good. However, it would take 2 or 3 days for Tang Tang to wake up, so Xiao Chen could not stay with her all the time. He had to go to school, but he could come to see her every morning. After putting away the dregs and the electric pot, Xiao Chen was ready to leave Tang Tang's residence. At this time Xiao Chen's phone rang. Xiao Chen thought it should be the young lady, but he did not expect it to be Yu Xiaochuan. Xiao Chen, how is Tang Tang? Yu Xiaochuan asked with concern after he answered the phone. After taking my elixir, her condition has stabilized, but I don't know when she will wake up. What's the matter? Asked Xiao Chen. You two are really in love. You gave her your precious elixir. I wish you two a long life together, said Yu Xiaochuan. Oh, is it all right? Asked Xiao Chen. It's all right. I won't bother you anymore. Go on with your business. Yu Xiaochuan said, you should also have a regular physical examination. Don't get sick and stay healthy. Tang Tang was fine, so Yu Xiaochuan was worried about Xiao Chen again. If Tang Tang didn't die, he was afraid that Xiao Chen would die. That would be the same. Oh, I'm fine. You don't have to worry about me. Xiao Chen hung up the phone. Motherf asterisk cur. My kind reminder is bad. Yu Xiaochuan shook his head, but suddenly with a quack sound he suddenly slapped his thigh and said, yes. A physical examination. I will know the blood type after the physical examination. Thinking of this, Yu Xiaochuan pondered for a moment and directly dialed the phone of Songning Second Middle School's Director Su. Director Su, this is Yu Xiaochuan. Oh, Yu Xiaochuan, what's the matter? You've been off for so long. When will you come back to class? Director Su's impression of Yu Xiaochuan was quite good. Although he was also a child of an aristocratic family, he was not as troublesome as Lu Jinming, who always stirred up trouble. I'm not in a hurry to go to class. There are some things at home that I haven't dealt with well. Director Su, I called this time to tell you something. Our Yu family intends to sponsor the school to give all the teachers and students a free physical examination. Yu Xiaochuan said, Tang Tang fainted on the way to school today, so it seems that health is particularly important. You also know that I am very generous and righteous, so I intend to sponsor the school to hold this activity. Director Su was stunned. He knew that Tang Tang fainted. Cheng Menjing had called him to ask for leave before, saying that Tang Tang fainted and had to go to the hospital, but he didn't expect Yu Xiaochuan to sponsor everyone for a physical examination. However, this was a good thing. He knew Yu Xiaochuan's character more or less. He seemed to be a very upright and generous person. Moreover, he was very willing to help others in school, so he immediately agreed, this is a good thing. I have no opinion. Yu Xiaochuan, why don't you come to school and I will take you to see the principal? Okay, I will go there now. Yu Xiaochuan was very excited. He was so smart that he could come up with such a good idea. There were so many girls in the school. He didn't believe that he couldn't find a mysterious body. Xiao Chen drove to the school gate and met Yu Xiaochuan, who was also here. Xiao Chen, you are doing well. You even drive a BMW X5. Yu Xiaochuan was a little surprised to see Xiao Chen's car. Xiao Chen was so poor, but he still sold breakfast on the morning market street. How could he drive a BMW? Chapter 239. Oh, it's a gift from Jean Bebe, Xiao Chen said. Jean Bebe? Xiao Chen, you can't be half-hearted. Yu Xiaochuan was greatly shocked after hearing what Xiao Chen said. His good mood that he had just come up with a great solution was gone. If Jean Bebe and Tang Tang were put together, Yu Xiaochuan felt that anyone who was sane would choose to be with Jean Bebe. Although Jean Bebe was a naughty girl and the nemesis of fops, she seemed to fit in well with Xiao Chen. It was hard to say. What are you talking about? Xiao Chen countered with a question. Exactly. You can't have Jean Bebe but not Tang Tang. Yu Xiaochuan said, Gentlemen value friendship. We cannot abandon each other after we have slept with each other. Oh, Jean Bebe and I are good friends. Xiao Chen did not bother to talk to him anymore. Gentlemen value friendship? This guy spent money on me to hit on his fiancée, and he said that he valued friendship? That sounded like bullsh*t. Alright. Call me if you need anything. Yu Xiaochuan was greatly relieved. He realized that the Jean family was not stupid enough to let Jean Bebe be with Xiao Chen, a loser who had been kicked out of the family. Thinking about that, Yu Xiaochuan walked to Director Su's office in a hurry. The moment Xiao Chen entered the classroom, Qing Minjing sent him a message asking about Tang Tang. She was not relieved until she received a positive reply from Xiao Chen. Zheng Xiaoquan, on the other hand, was somewhat worried because he did not see Xiao Chen in the morning. Seeing Xiao Chen, he hurried to ask, Xiao Chen, have you seen Tang Tang? Why is she not here today? Oh, Tang Tang is sick. She fainted with a cold in the morning. Qing Minjing and Jean Bebe happened to run into her and took her to the hospital. Then they informed me. I sent her home after her transfusion. She will probably take 2 to 3 days of sick leave. It won't be a problem. Xiao Chen did not say much to Zheng Xiaoquan, fearing that he would be worried. After all, Tang Tang was fine now. She caught a cold. Zheng Xiaoquan was shocked. Let's go and see her after school, shall we? She likes to sleep. I'm afraid to disturb her. Forget it. She's fine. She said that when she's better, she'll come to school by herself. She told us not to visit her. Xiao Chen said quickly. That's the case then, okay. Zheng Xiaoquan didn't think that Xiao Chen could lie to him, so he nodded to show that he understood. Yu Xiaochuan was very eloquent. Before the first class in the afternoon, the school broadcast the voice of Director Su. Attention everyone. Attention everyone. Tomorrow morning, the school will be organizing a free physical examination. Please be prepared. Because we will need to draw blood for testing, I suggest that you don't have breakfast. Director Su repeated before the class began. Yu Xiaochuan did good deeds without leaving his name, and he didn't let Director Su promote him. This surprised Director Su. Although Yu Xiaochuan had done a lot of good things before, he was a person who cared about his reputation. What happened this time? Could it be that he had changed and didn't care about fame and fortune anymore? But no matter what, the principal had agreed to this matter. The physical examination was beneficial, so he had no reason to refuse. The afternoon passed in a hurry. Xiao Chen was driving the BMW X5 and was about to go home, but he received a call from CFA. CFA, what's the matter? Asked Xiao Chen. White Fox Hero, according to the latest news from our CF family, the Sun family has appointed a new person to be in charge of the business of the Warrior Guild. CFA was also a little depressed. This Sun family is endless. 2 people are dead and they still have the mood to say something. This old man Sun Xiaonong's heart is so strong. Oh, I know Chen Iotafor? Xiao Chen met him today. This person made Xiao Chen very annoyed. So, before CFA gave the order, he was put on the death list by Xiao Chen. White Fox Hero, you actually know about it too. CFA was a little surprised. What do you plan to do next? He won't live for a few days. What should I do? Xiao Chen said, you don't have to worry. I will help you settle it. Who? CFA's heart twitched. Listening to White Fox Hero's words, Chen Iotafor is not far from death? Don't know how he will die? Is it still the wind on the horse? This made CFA really a little confused. White Fox Hero is so powerful and he is a psychic. Why does he like to let people die on the horse? However, she was afraid that this was White Fox Hero's bad taste. She didn't want to interfere, so she said, then I will trouble White Fox Hero. My father is also in my villa. He said that he wants to invite you to dinner tonight to express his gratitude. Forget about the dinner. I'm very busy. I have a lot of business. It's not just your business. Xiaoqun said, if you have something to say, just say it. Alright. Actually, there is something. CFA wanted to talk about it during dinner, but she didn't expect White Fox Hero to not keep the appointment. She had no choice but to say it on the phone. It's like this. Our CF family, because of the Sun family's previous run on us, we lost a lot. Moreover, you also know that we paid you a lot of salary. Say it. Xiaoqun was in a hurry to drive back. CFA explained so much, which made Xiaoqun a little impatient. He still had to hurry home. Okay. CFA was a little embarrassed. Our CF family also wants to do some temporary supply business. I heard that the Sun family has Medicine Master Sun's help, so they went to purchase some medicinal herbs. However, with our identity as an insider, it's impossible to inquire about such a confidential matter. So, can White Fox Hero help inquire about what medicinal herbs the Sun family is purchasing? This? Xiaoqun frowned. This matter was really difficult to inquire. Unless he forced the Sun family, otherwise where could he ask? If it's difficult, then forget it. CFA actually knew that this matter was definitely troublesome, but she couldn't resist Xie Chaonan's persuasion because the Sun family's capital chain was really a little tight. I will help you inquire about it. Don't have too much hope. Xiaoqun looked at the 10 million reward and agreed. Then I will trouble White Fox Hero. CFA breathed a sigh of relief and hung up the phone. How is it? What did White Fox Hero say? Xie Chaonan asked quickly. White Fox Hero said to give it a try. CFA said, I think we shouldn't trouble White Fox Hero for such a small matter in the future. Okay, what about Chen Iotafor? Asked Xie Chaonan. White Fox Hero said that Chen Iotafor won't live for a few days. CFA said, he said that we don't have to worry. Ah, that's good. Xie Chaonan couldn't help but laugh. Will he still die on horseback? That's interesting. I didn't ask, but it might be, said CFA. If another member of the Sun family dies, let's see if Sun Xiaonong will be afraid. This is called, those who commit unjust deeds bring about their own destruction. Xie Chaonan laughed heartily. Also, White Fox Hero said that he is very busy. It's not just our Xie family's business, so he can't come for a meal, said CFA. Oh. Xie Chaonan was slightly stunned, then he thought about it and asked, then when you ask him to come, doesn't he come? He didn't say he was busy? No. CFA shook her head. Maybe he's busy today. Silly daughter, I guess White Fox Hero thinks that it's unnecessary for us to be the third wheel here. When you are alone he comes. Xie Chaonan laughed and said, well, if that's the case we won't bother you anymore. We will go back to the Xie family first. CFA wanted to say it can't be like this, right? However, she suddenly felt a little hopeful that it was true. She didn't worship anyone, nor did she like anyone. The union with Wang Xiongzhuang was nothing more than a union of benefits. She didn't have too much contact with other men. However, recently she suddenly looked forward to seeing White Fox Hero. She also looked forward to talking to him on the phone. Everything about White Fox was so attractive to her, making her want to understand him. CFA didn't know if it was worship or love, but she knew that she definitely didn't reject more contact with White Fox. Little sister, you can do it. Xie Huang raised his fist. The people of the Xie family left, leaving only CFA sitting on the sofa in a daze, thinking about White Fox Hero. However, her breathing suddenly became rapid. CFA hurriedly stood up and quickly ran upstairs. Her footsteps were a little unsteady. Xiaoqun drove in the direction of his family's villa. He still needed to go back and brew medicine. However, when he passed by the pharmacy where Hongzhu was, Xiaoqun thought for a moment and decided to thank Hongzhu. After all, the sky-clear grass was bought under Hongzhu's guidance. Moreover, for some reason when Xiaoqun passed by this place he suddenly had the idea to see Hongzhu. If Hongzhu knew about this she would definitely be very happy. Her subtle influence had finally taken effect. It seemed that the mental cultivation method she practiced was not completely useless for Xiaoqun. After parking the car, Xiaoqun got off and walked into the pharmacy. Little brother, why are you here again? Hongzhu had seen Xiaoqun several times a day, and even she was a little surprised. It's nothing, I was just passing by and wanted to thank you on the way. I bought the sky-clear grass, Xiaoqun said. Oh, it's nothing. We have such a good relationship, you can come and chat with me when you have time, Hongzhu said. I'm alone in the pharmacy, it's very boring. No problem, I'll be leaving first, Xiaoqun said. However, just as Xiaoqun was about to leave, Two people pushed open the door and walked into the pharmacy. When the man in the lead saw Xiaoqin, he was stunned. Xiaoqin was also stunned. He was very surprised. Why did this person come here? Get lost. Qin Iotafor stretched out his hand and pushed Xiaoqin, causing him to stagger. He then turned to Hongzhu and said, "Boss, do you have any heaven reversing response fruit?" "Oh no," Hongzhu simply said. "No? Then forget it." Qin Iotafor was a little regretful, but he didn't say anything else. He turned around and was about to leave when he saw Xiaoqin again. Chapter 240. Qin Iafu sneered and said sarcastically, "Why are you here to buy medicine again? Why do I keep bumping into you here? Does a good-for-nothing like you still need to take medicine? Oh, I know, are you impotent? Oh, it seems that thing of yours is very useful, but you should be careful, you can easily die if you use it too much." Xiaoqin curled her lips. "Haha, sour grapes when you can't eat them. If I wasn't in a hurry, I would have beaten you up again." Qin Iafu didn't seem to mind and walked away with a laugh. "I'll let you go for now." Xiaoqin looked at Qin Iafu's back and sneered, then turned to Hongzhu and asked, "Don't you have the heaven reversing response fruit? I seem to remember that I also have it among my medicinal ingredients, right? Why didn't you sell it to him?" "Big sister doesn't like to do business with dead people. I heard that money from dead people can be turned into underworld money. Wouldn't big sister suffer a great loss?" Hongzhu said. "Dead people?" Xiaoqin was slightly surprised. "Don't tell me you couldn't tell?" Hongzhu asked. "Tell what?" Xiaoqin asked. "Of course I could tell that the person just now was about to die," Hongzhu said. "Otherwise, why would you say that he would die easily?" "I was just speaking casually." Xiaoqin was dumbstruck. This Hongzhu could actually tell that Qin Iafu was about to die? How was that possible? Black chi surged up from his forehead and formed a skull. "We are all sensible people, so don't pretend in front of big sister." Hongzhu curled her lips, but inwardly she was sure that Xiaoqin was a devil cultivator and could also see the problem. Although not every devil cultivator had this ability, a small number of devil cultivators who cultivated special mental cultivation methods and had some talent were still able to do so. Hongzhu was one of them, and in her opinion Xiaoqin should also be one of them. "Haha," Xiaoqin chuckled, but inwardly he was even more shocked. He could even see that? Just what kind of background did this Hongzhu have? Wasn't he too amazing? Right, tell big sister you can't really be impotent, can you? Hongzhu blinked his eyes and suddenly asked Xiaoqin curiously, "Every time you grab the medicine, is it to treat this?" Ahem. Xiaoqin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "How is that possible? Then why didn't you refute? Why do you look like you've been appointed?" Hongzhu did not know that Xiaoqin was deliberately pretending to be weak. Seeing that Xiaoqin did not fight with a martial artist at the first layer of inner strength, Hongzhu found it a little strange. "Why don't you give it a try?" Xiaoqin was speechless when he saw Hongzhu's confident expression. "Sure. It just so happens that big sister hasn't tried it yet." Hongzhu nodded excitedly. Come on. Is that true?" Hongzhu's reply slightly tempted Xiaoqin. "It's true, but according to our clan's rules, you have to take responsibility and then marry into our clan," Hongzhu said with a beaming smile. "Then forget it, I'm leaving. You can have fun." Xiaoqin turned around and left. He knew that Hongzhu was playing with him. Why would he believe her? Hongzhu's bell-like laughter came from behind Xiaoqin, causing Xiaoqin's mind to ripple. He hurriedly quickened his pace. After returning to the car, Xiaoqin suddenly remembered that Qin Iotafor had come to buy the heaven-reversing response fruit. The Sun clan was the herb supplier, so why did they go to other pharmacies to buy it? Even if they used it themselves, shouldn't they have asked Medicine Master Sun to bring it back from the Warriors Market Square? There was no reason for them to come to a pharmacy. Suddenly Xiaoqin remembered Xiafei's call and suddenly understood something. After calling Xiafei back, Xiaoqin said directly, "The Sun clan is buying the heaven-reversing response fruit." You found out so quickly?" Xiafei's voice was a little strange, as if she was extremely excited. "Xiafei, what's wrong?" Xiaoqin was a little puzzled. "Isn't it good to be fast? Why are you so surprised? You weren't so surprised when the Sun clan died." No, nothing, thank you, I got it. I have something to do here, I'll hang up first." Xiafei hung up the phone without waiting for Xiaoqin's response. Xiaoqin really didn't understand why Xiafei was so excited, but his task had been completed, so he could go home and brew the medicine with peace of mind. Jean Bebe didn't stay here tonight. Old Master Jean was very fond of Jean Bebe, so he usually let her go back home. Looking at Cheng Minjing lying on the sofa watching TV, Xiaochen was a little timid. Would Miss Qin bring up what happened last night again? Why did you come back so late? Did you go to see Tang Tang? Cheng Minjing was a little unhappy when she saw Xiaochen drive back so late today. No, I went to the pharmacy. Xiaochen glanced at Miss Qin and found that she was not really angry, so he said, "Oh, I'm hungry." Cheng Minjing heard that Xiaochen went to the pharmacy instead of Tang Tang's home. She didn't know why, but she felt a little better. "I'll get something to eat." Xiaochen went to the kitchen. He had been busy these days, and he hadn't cooked a decent meal for Miss Qin for several days. After a while, Xiaochen cooked all the ingredients in the refrigerator and put them on the table. "Why did you cook so many dishes today? Tell me, did you do something wrong to me?" When Cheng Minjing saw the dishes on the table, she was a little surprised. "Oh." Xiaochen didn't know what to say. "I'm just kidding." Cheng Minjing sat down and picked up the chopsticks. She glanced at Xiaochen and said, "You eat too." "Okay." Xiaochen nodded, sat across from her, and had dinner with Miss Qin. Every time he had dinner with Miss Qin, Xiaochen had a very warm feeling, as if he was at home. He didn't know if Miss Qin had the same feeling. But probably not. It was estimated that Cheng Minjing had never regarded him as her fiancé. What he had done before would probably make anyone sad. After dinner, Miss Qin looked at the bowl and chopsticks on the table and said, "Do you want me to wash the dishes?" "No, you go to rest. I'll do it." Xiaochen quickly cleaned up the bowl and chopsticks. Cheng Minjing glanced at him and said in her heart, He must have provoked me yesterday, and today he came to please me. Then I won't be polite to him. I'll go to rest." The current Xiaochen could still be considered a more qualified fiancé. If he had been like this before, I wouldn't have kicked him. It's too late now. It's too late to try and please me. I'm not going to pay attention to you. Yesterday, I saw how pleased you were when you touched me. You must be interested in me. It must be so. Not long after Cheng Minjing went upstairs, Yi Xiaoye came downstairs. She looked around and asked Xiaochen, "Jean Bebe is not here, is she?" "No, what's wrong?" Xiaochen was surprised. "Nothing. I was pissed off by her this morning," Yi Xiaoye said gloomily. "In the morning?" Xiaochen was not here in the morning. He went out early, so he didn't know what happened between Jean Bebe and Yi Xiaoye. But with Jean Bebe's eloquence, Yi Xiaoye must have been at a disadvantage. "Forget it, let's not talk about it," Yi Xiaoye said. "I'll study that dog for another 2 days. It's weird. It seems to be a martial dog." "Martial dog? What's that?" Xiaochen was somewhat confused. "It's a dog that can practice martial arts. But I'm not sure." Yi Xiaoye said, "You should know martial arts. I've investigated your and Cheng Minjing's identities. You are her fiancé and the foppish young master of the Xiao family. You can't practice martial arts. But the rumors are not entirely true. I don't see you as a foppish young master, but you are infatuated with her. Even though you were kicked out, you are still working as a manservant for the goddess. I really don't know what to say about you. Can't you live without her?" Yi Xiaoye's words made Xiaochen speechless. What Yi Xiaoye had investigated was mostly the superficial things. Few people knew the real reason why he was here. Yi Xiaoye probably hadn't found out either. "Why are you talking about me? I need to go to school and survive now. Without her taking me in, what can I do?" "You can go to the warrior guild to do missions." "Oh yes, you can't." "Okay." Yi Xiaoye suddenly remembered that Xiaochen was a good-for-nothing. If he couldn't practice martial arts, why would he do missions? Xiaochen didn't know what to say. "Let's not talk about me. How's your retreat?" "Retreat? How do you know that I'm in retreat?" Yi Xiaoye was stunned and looked at Xiaochen strangely. Not many people knew that she was in retreat to break through, and she didn't tell Xiaochen. "Oh, you've been in seclusion every day. Aren't you in retreat?" Xiaochen said calmly on the surface, but in fact he was shocked. He almost exposed his identity as the White Fox. He was confused by Yi Xiaoye's words just now. He thought that he was the White Fox. "Ha, you can say that I'm in retreat." Yi Xiaoye only understood what Xiaochen meant after listening to him. "Okay, let's not talk about it anymore. I'm going to take some medicinal ingredients to brew the medicine." After saying that, Yi Xiaoye went to the fridge to take the medicinal ingredients. Xiaochen nodded and returned to his room. Xiaochen now found the reason. He couldn't continue to level up and break through. It was probably because he didn't have enough spiritual jades. However, it was difficult to buy spiritual jades in ordinary jewelry stores. Xiaoqin planned to try his luck tomorrow when he had time. As for the physical examination, Xiaoqin didn't want to go at all. He was very healthy. If there was any problem, the elder heaven ancestor would tell him immediately. There was no need for a physical examination at all. Xiaoqin just happened to have the whole morning to dig for spiritual jades. Back in his room, Xiaoqin started to brew the medicine. Although the Sun family couldn't buy too many emergency response fruits, they couldn't stop Chen Iofo from going door to door to find them. They also bought 200,000 to 300,000 worth of goods. When the time came, they would make a profit of more than 100,000. After explaining to Sun Xiaonong, Chen Iofo couldn't wait to return to his villa. Sun Yumao said that he would reward him today and let him enjoy the full set of treatment of an emperor. Chen Iofo was excited when he thought about it. Sun Yumao hadn't treated him so well for N years. Status really determined everything. The plan to deal with Qin Jinping was also quietly carried out. Chapter 241. For the Sun family, it was as if the heavens were helping them. Qin Jinping didn't go home directly after school today, but drove to the airport instead. It was important to note that the section before the airport expressway was an uninhabited area. It was a convenient place to make a move. Sun Yuming brought the Stage 6 Inner Force Guard with him to the empty section of the highway in front of the airport. They waited there quietly for Qin Jinping's return. As everyone knew, after going to the airport they would have to drive back. This was the only way. Therefore, when they found out that Qin Jinping went to the airport, they just had to wait for him on the way back. Sun Yuming was excited as he parked the car on the temporary parking line. It was time for revenge. Kill Qin Jinping and avenge the Sun family, Sun Rongqin and Sun Rongjin. The Sun family's investigation was right. Qin Jinping did drive to the airport after school today, and the car he drove was the black Volkswagen that Xiaoqin gave him. In addition to Qin Jinping, Chao Yuliang was also in the car. However, there were only 2 of them when they went, and when they came back there were 2 more people in the car. They were Li Shanying and an expert invited by Li Shanying. This expert was a wanted criminal with level 6 inner strength. He was invited by Li Shanying to kill Xiaoqin. Li Shanying wouldn't make a move himself, nor would he let the Li family do it. After all, this wasn't the Li family's territory. Using martial artists to kill people would cause dissatisfaction from other families, and the gains would not make up for the losses. Even with the help of Chao Yuliang and Qin Jinping, it wouldn't work, because they didn't have absolute power in Songning City. Hurting people directly was a taboo. Unless one's strength was tyrannical, others wouldn't dare to say anything. Otherwise, it was better to avoid it as much as possible. Therefore, the person Li Shanying invited was a wanted criminal. If he made a move, he would only be committing crimes. Even if he killed Xiaoqin, he would die in vain. He was already a wanted criminal on the Warrior Guild trading hall. What else could he do? Continue to be wanted? What's more, the person who died was Xiaoqin. It was hard to say if anyone would avenge him so he could rest easy. Haha, brothering is so thoughtful. Chao Yuliang was overjoyed to see this Stage 6 internal force martial artist. Heaven was really helping him. The one behind the scenes was already desperate to kill Xiaoqin, but he didn't have any good ideas. Today, Li Shanying called and said that he would bring an expert. In this way, Chao Yuliang could continue to use Li Shanying to kill Xiaoqin. Stage 6 Inner Force. Let's see if Xiaoqin can still die. This time he will definitely die. Therefore, Chao Yuliang addressed Li Shanying as Brother Ing. This person was simply here to solve his problems. It's just a coincidence. Li Shanying waved his hand. They came in a private plane. With Li Shanying's ability, it was easy to create a fake identity for this wanted criminal. Especially since it was his own plane, the inspection was not that strict. Therefore, the Warrior Guild did not even realize that this wanted criminal had fled to Songning City. Then when do we make our move? Qin Jinping couldn't wait. Motherf asterisk her, he cheated me of a few cars and gave me a worthless broken car. I'm so angry. Wait until he is alone. After all, Brother Hei Feng is a wanted criminal. It's not good to appear in a crowded place. It's not good if he is targeted by the Warrior Guild, Li Shanying said. No problem. Xiaoqin wakes up at 3 or 4 in the morning to set up his stall. There are not many people on the street at that time, so it's a good time to make our move. Qin Jinping knew Xiaoqin's routine like the back of his hand. Okay, tomorrow morning it is. Li Shanying also wanted to make his move as soon as possible to avoid trouble. The car got off the airport highway and onto another highway. There were very few cars on this highway, especially those returning to the city. Because Li Shaning's plane was a private plane, they were the only ones who got off at the same time. There were even fewer vehicles returning to the city. Suddenly, Qin Jinping, who was driving, was shocked because the road in front of the car was suddenly blocked by a rough wooden block. Creak. Qin Jinping braked suddenly and cursed, "Who the F***ck is so crazy to put a wooden block in the middle of the road? Do they want to die?" Zhao Yuliang also frowned. He looked around and saw that there were no cars passing by. Could it be a robbery? It was not uncommon to set up obstacles on the highway and rob people. It was also often seen in the news. But who would be so daring as to block their vehicles? Let's go and take a look. Li Shaning was very calm. There was a Stage 6 Inner Force warrior in the car. What was there to be afraid of? Just as they got off the car, two people suddenly jumped out from a haystack on the side of the highway. One of them directly swung his fist at them. This person did not have a clear target. Other than killing Qin Jinping, he also wanted to kill all the witnesses. In fact, he wanted to silence them. Boom. The Level 6 Inner Force fugitive that Li Shaning had found, Black Crazy Brother, welcomed the attack with a punch. He was very self-aware. He knew that it was all because of Li Shaning that he was able to escape death. Today it was the day for him to show his loyalty to Li Shaning. If he did well, Li Shaning would definitely secretly arrange for him to enter the Li family in the future. With that, he would be able to escape from the warrior guild. The two fists collided. Black Crazy Brother and the Sun Family Stage 6 Inner Force warrior each took a few steps back before stopping. The Stage 6 Inner Force warrior was here to kill, so he did not hold back and used all his strength. Black Crazy Brother, on the other hand, wanted to show his loyalty. Naturally, he wanted to kill the person as soon as possible, so he also used all his strength. "You are also Stage 6 Inner Force warrior." Both of them said almost at the same time. "Kill them." Seeing that the Sun family's guard was about to retreat, Sun Yuming was shocked and immediately ordered him. Sun Yuming regretted jumping out with them. In his eyes, Qin Jinping and his gang would definitely die, so there was no need for him to hide his identity. But now, he did not expect that there would be an additional Stage 6 Inner Force warrior in Qin Jinping's car. Although he was not sure if Qin Jinping saw him or if he would recognize him in the future, he did not dare to take the risk. If he let Qin Jinping go tonight, then the Sun family and the Qin family would not rest until one of them was dead. Blocking the road and killing people was an irreconcilable feud. The Sun family's guard nodded. He came here today because he was promised a great reward. His younger brother had grown up and was very talented in concocting medicine. Therefore, the Sun family promised him that if he did a good job, his younger brother would be able to learn from Medicine Master Sunday. In this way, the Sun family's guard had no choice but to use his full strength. He could also see that the Stage 6 Inner Force warrior in front of him was similar to him in terms of strength, but from the way he responded to him, he could tell that the warrior was unorthodox. Therefore, in terms of strength, the Sun family's guard should be slightly stronger. Ha! The Sun family's guard dodged Black Crazy Brother and punched Li Shaning, who was beside Black Crazy Brother. F***ck. Li Shaning was a little dumbfounded. What was going on? Black Crazy Brother was also stunned. He did not expect the Sun family's guard to be so despicable. Instead of hitting him, he changed his target to his master. Left with no choice, he turned around and pushed Li Shaning away, forcefully taking the attack from the Sun family's guard. Bang! Black Crazy Brother spat out a mouthful of blood. However, the Sun family's guard did not use his full strength in the previous punch. Since there was an expert here, he did not dare to use his full strength in every move. Otherwise, his stamina would be depleted very quickly. Wouldn't that be waiting to be beaten up? Therefore, when he hit Li Shaning, he only used 10% of his strength. Therefore, Black Crazy Brother's injury was not very serious. However, Black Crazy Bro also went crazy. He turned around and threw a heavy punch at the Sun family's guard's head. The Sun family's guard was shocked and subconsciously dodged. However, Black Crazy Bro wasn't stupid. He learned the Sun family's guard's despicable moves and directly passed by him, kicking Sun Yuming, who was behind him. The Sun family guard was greatly alarmed, but Big Brother Heifeng had walked past him. Even if he turned around to block, it would be too late. So, he had no other choice but to grab Big Brother Heifeng and try to pull him back. Rip! The sound of clothes being pulled was heard, followed by a bang. Black Crazy Brother's kick landed on Sun Yuming's body. Although the Sun family's guard pulled him back in time and reduced most of the force, this kick on Sun Yuming, who was only at the peak of the first stage of Inner Force, was still enough to make Sun Yuming suffer. Moreover, after being pulled back by the Sun family's guard, Black Crazy Brother's kick was not as high. Originally, it was aimed at the chest, but it ended up on the crotch. Sun Yuming's face immediately turned green. He directly knelt on the ground with a ouch. His head was covered in cold sweat and his body was trembling. He felt that he had lost everything. Sun Yuming roared while trembling, "Kill him! Kill him!" The Sun family's guard was also a little anxious. He had already failed to protect Sun Yuming. If he still failed to take down the murderer, then not only would his brother learn from Alchemist's son, but he would also have to bear the blame. The Sun family was not scary. The scary thing was Alchemist's son Yukai behind them. This person's power was extremely terrifying. "You're courting death. Give me your life." After the Sun family's guard dragged Big Bro Heifeng back, he suddenly kicked him in the back and sent him flying. This kick was with all his strength, so the force was quite strong. Black Crazy Brother felt that his spine was about to explode, and he was directly sent flying. After the Sun family's guard kicked Black Crazy Brother, he did not stop. "You hit my master, I'll hit your master too." He quickly ran towards Li Shanning, Qin Jinping and the others. Li Shanning was scared out of his wits. Where did all these people come from? Why were the robbers so awesome? They were all martial artists at the 6th stage of inner force? When did Songning City become so awesome? This wasn't a gathering place for martial artists, so why were there so many powerful martial artists? There were so many that the robbers on the road were all martial artists at the 6th stage of inner force. Chapter 242. One had to know that the cities where the Martial Artist Guild and the Martial Artist Market were located were more developed, and there would be some big clans doing business and developing there. However, in reality, those big clans, ancient martial families, and sects would avoid the Martial Artist Guild's surveillance and establish their bases in other cities. Therefore, a situation like the one in Songning City where a level 6 inner force expert was everywhere shouldn't happen. Li Shanning took a step back to dodge, but he was still hit by the Sun family's guard's palm wind. Half of his face swelled up. "Who are you?" "I'm Qin Jinping from the Qin family of Songning City. Do you know who my father is? Do you know who my grandfather is?" Qin Jinping was a little confused. He didn't know who it was. "My father is the Warrior Guild's Vice President Qin. You dare touch me? Just you wait. You will all die a horrible death. My grandfather, Martial God Qin, is an inner force expert above level 8. Once he makes a move, you will all die." "Stop shouting. I think he's Sun Yuming from the Sun family of a neighboring city. I've seen him before." Chao Yuliang recognized the man who was kneeling on the ground and covered his crotch. He frowned and said, "Why is the Sun family looking for trouble with us? Is it because you beat up that Sun Rongjin at the beach last time?" "That can't be. It's not a big deal to beat him up, but he sent someone to kill us? What kind of logic is this?" Qin Jinping was stunned. The Sun family's guard didn't chase after Li Shanning because Black Crazy Brother would soon get up. If he did anything to Sun Yuming, it would be too late for regrets. He turned around and saw that Black Crazy Brother had indeed gotten up. Why-ya-ya-ya. Black Crazy Brother was kicked and suffered a serious injury. He clenched his teeth and fought with all his might. "It was either you die or I die. Kill him for me," Sun Yuming roared. The Sun family's guard slowly nodded his head. He took a deep breath and prepared to continue fighting. When experts of the same level had similar strength, it was difficult to determine the winner and loser. Who won and who lost could be decided in an instant. Seeing Black Crazy Big Brother running over, the Sun Clan's guard was about to react according to the situation when he saw Black Crazy Big Brother suddenly spread out his arms. Like a rock spreading its wings, he soared into the sky and smashed towards the Sun Clan's guard. Mad Demon Slash. This was Black Mad Bro's self-created and famous move. His entire body smashed down from the sky like a giant bird. At this moment, the muscles on his body were taut and incomparably hard. If he smashed down on a low-level martial artist, he would definitely be smashed to death. Facing an expert of the same level, it was also very powerful. Especially an injured martial artist like the Sun family's guard, he was even more confident that he could smash him to death. However, what Black Mad Bro didn't expect was that the Sun family's guard didn't dodge at all. Instead, he raised his arms above his head and pushed them out. Fist techniques were what the Sun family's guard was good at. He directly smashed both of his fists at Black Mad Bro's body. He didn't dodge either. He wanted to end the battle as soon as possible and then kill Qin Jinping and Chao Yuliang. With his current stamina, he still had some stamina left after the fight with Brother Heifeng. It was not a problem for him to deal with a martial artist at the peak of Stage 2 internal force. Li Shanning and Chao Yuliang were just ordinary people. When he hit Li Shanning earlier, he realized that Li Shanning didn't use any inner force to resist. Therefore he could determine that Li Shanning didn't know inner force. As for Chao Yuliang, according to the information, he was as useless as Xiao Qin, unable to cultivate inner force. As for these two ordinary people, as long as he had a trace of strength left, he could easily kill them. After making the calculations, he suddenly punched with all his strength. Bang! With a loud bang, Black Mad Bro landed heavily on the Sun family's guard's fists. The Sun family's guard's legs sank into the hard road, and two bowl-sized holes appeared on Black Mad Bro's chest. Black Mad Bro screamed in pain and fell to the ground. He twitched twice and stopped moving. However, the Sun family's guard didn't have it easy either. It seemed like he had won, but in fact his internal organs were all shifted under the huge impact just now. He couldn't use his strength at all, and his strength was only suppressed to about Stage 3 inner force. However, this bit of inner force was enough to kill Qin Jinping. That's all. I didn't expect you to have helpers. But it doesn't matter. He's already dead, so you can't escape the fate of being killed. The Sun family's guard grinned and pulled his feet out from the road, walking towards Qin Jinping and the others. F***ck famous son, right? You want to go against the Qin family to the end, don't you? Have you ever thought about the consequences? Qin Jinping was a little afraid. This was a martial artist with Stage 6 inner force. Previously, Qin Jinping had been able to defend against Mad Black Bro's attack, so he was still fearless. Go against you? Ah, what a joke. You know what you've done. Sun Yuming had recovered a little. Although his lower body was in pain, he could still force himself to stand. Anyway, Medicine Master Sun was at home. It should be fine to go back and check on him. Fine, you're good. Qin Jinping thought Sun Yuming was talking about beating up Sun Rongjin at the beach. He was furious. If you dare touch me, I'll make your Sun family extinct. My father will make your Sun family extinct. Qin Jinping saw that Sun Yuming's D**ck was kicked, so he threatened him. Sun Yuming was stunned. Extinct? Extinct? Could it be that Sun Rongjin and Sun Rongqing's deaths weren't accidents? Was it Qin Jinping's doing? Thinking of this, Sun Yuming was furious. Don't talk nonsense with him. Kill him. Ha! The Sun family's guard punched at Qin Jinping. Judging from his strength, he was at least Stage 3 inner force. Chao Yuliang had been observing from the side. When he saw the Sun family's guard punch at him, he suddenly had an idea. It seemed that this guy was also injured. It was just a strong bow, but if he attacked, his strength would be exposed. However, he had no choice but to attack now. Li Shanning was an ordinary person, and Qin Jinping was only at the peak of Stage 2 inner force. How could he resist the attack of a Stage 3 inner force? Thinking of this, when the Sun family's guard's punch was about to hit Qin Jinping, Chao Yuliang attacked and caught the Sun family's guard off guard. A full blow of Stage 3 inner force. Originally, the Sun family's guard had concentrated all his strength on this blow against Qin Jinping. He didn't make any defense on his body and he was caught off guard. Boom! The Sun family's guard was sent flying by Chao Yuliang's punch and landed on the ground not far away. He struggled for a while and then stopped moving. Sun Yuming's eyes flashed with horror, but he was not stupid. He made a prompt decision and ran to the car parked not far away. He got in the car, started it and ran. Chao Yuliang wasn't useless, but he had hidden his strength. He was a martial artist at the peak of Stage 3 inner force. This guy hid his strength really well. Chao Yuliang's attack also surprised Qin Jinping. He looked at Chao Yuliang in surprise. Brother Liang, you're a martial artist? And a martial artist at the peak of Stage 3 inner force? Yes, I've been hiding my strength before. Chao Yuliang nodded pretentiously. He had some regrets in his heart. He wanted to kill Sun Yuming to silence him, but he let him escape. There was a huge log in the middle of the road. They had to move the log away to cross it, and Sun Yuming's car was parked on the side of the log. If they moved the log away, they definitely wouldn't be able to catch up. Sun Yuming's car was also a good car. The gap was still very obvious. Damn, so Brother Liang, you've been hiding your identity. You're so awesome. I admire you so much. I thought you were as useless as Xiao Qin, but now it seems that you've been fooling around with that idiot Xiao Qin. Qin Jinping said with admiration. It's not that I'm fooling around with him. I just don't want to show off. Otherwise, I would have caught up with Cheng Menjing a long time ago. Chao Yuliang said proudly, With my strength, I can be considered one of the best among the younger generation in Songning City. That's right. How can Xiaoqin compare with you? Chapter 243. On the other hand, Evil Cultivator was a mission entrusted by the rich young master. Different people would get different points. 5,000 points would be 5 million. Hearing this consolation, Chao Yuliang nodded slowly. Recently, Xiaoqin had cheated away a lot of money, and he needed to replenish it. What should we do next? Chao Yuliang nodded and asked. Now, Brother Black Crazy hadn't even seen Xiaoqian's shadow, and he was already killed by the Sun family. What kind of rubbish was this? Why was it so difficult to deal with Xiaoqin? Previously, when he was dealing with Xiaoqin, the Lu family kept going against him. But that was because of Qing Menjing, so it was understandable. Now, the Sun family came out, and it was because of those inexplicable **T reasons. He had asked Qin Jinping to beat up Sun Rongjin? Was that the reason? Let me think about it. However, after you submit the mission, the Warrior Guild will know that Brother He Feng, a wanted criminal, had escaped to Songning City without any warning. I'm afraid that the next step will be to strictly guard against foreign martial artists. Maybe they will even send an inspector from the higher-ups. Li Shaniying said, Chao Yuliang, your father is the vice president of the Warrior Guild. He should know about this. If he can open the back door for me, it won't be a problem for me to get another wanted martial artist. I'm afraid that won't work. Qin Jinping shook his head quickly. He knew what he was relying on. His father had just become the vice president of the Warrior Guild, and he had just become the young master of the Qin family. If such a thing happened at this critical juncture, the Qin family might be finished. Although he was a little stupid sometimes, it didn't mean that he was a fool. That's it. We can only think of other ways. Li Shaniying sighed. He thought that it was in the bag this time, but he didn't expect it to be such a bad start. He didn't expect Qin Jinping to persuade his father to let him go. A car is coming from behind. Let's go. Chao Yuliang suddenly said. What happened before was actually very fast, only a few minutes, and it was normal for there to be no traffic. Now that there was a car coming from behind, Chao Yuliang quickly kicked the log aside, and then quickly moved the two bodies on the ground into the haystack by the roadside. They pretended to get out of the car to relieve themselves. After the car behind them left, Chao Yuliang asked Qin Jinping to fold up Black Crazy Bro's body and stuff it into the trunk. As for the body of the Sun family's guard, he was too lazy to take it. They got into the car and prepared to find a place to stay to discuss the next opportunity. The few of them got into the car and prepared to find a place to settle down and discuss the next step of the plan. The car drove all the way to the Warrior Guild. Inside the car, the atmosphere was a little depressing. The four people who were originally in high spirits had now become three sad people. This Xiaoqin, what other hobbies does he have? Let's start with his hobbies. Li Shaniying felt a sense of defeat. It was the first time he felt that killing someone was so difficult. Moreover, it was a useless person who was chased out of the family. He doesn't have any hobbies. Alright, he loves money. It was the same in the car race last time. Qin Jinping thought for a moment, then slapped his thigh and said, Didn't he kill your brother in the car race? Why don't we make a fuss about the car race? It's easy to make a move on the underground car race, but it's not easy to make a move on other aspects. What Jinping said makes sense. Based on the current situation, if we invite Xiaoqin to race, he can still go. However, if we ask him to do something else, we can't guarantee a 100% success rate. Chao Yuliang also nodded and said, Car race? That's fine. I'll plan it. Li Shaniying nodded. This suggestion was not bad, and he could discuss it with Lin Chao when the time came. There were people on night shift at the Warrior Guild. Chao Yuliang and Qin Jinping carried Brother He Feng's corpse and walked in. When Chao Yuliang and Qin Jinping entered the Warrior Guild, they were stopped by the guard. Hello, the two of you. Please show me your Warrior Guild membership card. I didn't bring it, but I'm Qin Jinping and my dad is Qin Jinping. Qin Jinping looked at the guard and said arrogantly. The guard was slightly stunned, but he didn't dare to stop them. After all, Qin Jinping had said Vice President Chen's name. How could he dare to be rash? He quickly said, Young Master Qin, do you have anything that can prove your identity? Don't dawdle. I'm here to submit a mission. Can't you see that I'm carrying the wanted criminal here? Qin Jinping pointed at the person on his back. The guard didn't know who Brother He Feng was. Alright, I have a membership card. Chao Yuliang waved his hand and took out a membership card from the hidden compartment of his wallet. This was a membership card that he had applied for with another identity. Normally he wouldn't use his real identity. But now that his hidden strength had been exposed, there was no need to hide it anymore. The guard quickly verified Chao Yuliang's membership card and let them in after finding that there was no problem. After all, at least it proved that they were both martial artists. Even if Qin Jinping wasn't Vice President Chen's son, he was still someone who understood martial artists. There wouldn't be any trouble. The two of them entered the Warrior Guild's trading hall. It was already empty, but the emergency duty room was still lit. Chao Yuliang and Qin Jinping walked over and submitted the mission. Although the martial artist on duty felt that it was a miracle that Chao Yuliang, a registered member at the peak of Stage 3, could kill a Stage 6 criminal, but the person beside him didn't show his strength. He might even be an expert. Moreover, when Chao Yuliang registered, he was at the peak of Stage 3. Maybe he had already leveled up. After charging the points into Chao Yuliang's membership card, Chao Yuliang and Qin Jinping left the Warrior Guild in a hurry. Chao Yuliang didn't have many points on his card. He had spent most of them previously. This was a windfall. The two of them returned to the car and sent Li Shanning to the hotel. They had to go back first. Li Shanning needed some time to plan when he contacted the racing team. He would contact them when there was news. Sun Yuming returned to the Sun family with injuries all over his body. As soon as he got out of the car, he collapsed on the ground and couldn't stand up for a long time. First, it was because of the injuries on his body. Second, it was because he was scared. He almost didn't kill Qin Jinping and died there. Yuming, what's wrong? Sun Xiaonong was taking a walk in the house to relax. Too many tragedies had happened in the past few days. He was in a bad mood, so he was waiting for the good news from Sun Yuming. In the end, Sun Yuming came back, but no matter how he looked at it, it looked like he returned in failure. Father, Protector Lu is dead and I'm seriously injured. My penis was kicked and I don't know if it's still working, but that's not important. I almost didn't come back. Sun Yuming gritted his teeth and said, "What happened? Isn't bodyguard Lu a Stage 6 martial artist? How did he die?" Sun Xiaonong was stunned. Qin Jinping has an expert with him. He is also a Stage 6 martial artist. He is only slightly weaker than bodyguard Lu, Sun Yuming said. Slightly weaker? Then how did he get killed? Sun Xiaonong was even more puzzled. This is what happened at the time. Sun Yuming explained the situation and then said, originally bodyguard Lu won. Who would have thought that Chao Yuliang had been hiding his strength? He was actually a martial artist at the peak of Stage 3 of inner power. He suddenly attacked and killed bodyguard Lu. So, this Chao Yuliang is quite insidious. Sun Xiaonong's face changed after listening. These aristocratic children are really not simple. They can actually hide for so long and so deep. They are really good. You lost. It's not an injustice. Father, I suspect that the death of Rong Jin and Rong Qin may be related to Qin Jinping. Sun Yuming suddenly said. What do you mean? Sun Xiaonong asked quickly. Qin Jinping said before that he wanted our Sun family to have no descendants, to have the Sun family exterminated. Sun Yuming said, I thought of this at once. You say, how can there be such a coincidence in the world? How can two people die on horseback? Oh, come on, gather everyone for a meeting immediately. There is an important matter to discuss. Sun Xiaonong felt that Sun Yuming's analysis was reasonable, but whether this matter was true or not, he still had to hold a meeting to discuss it. Moreover, he also had to ask Medicine Master Sun if it was possible to make people die on horseback. Yes. A patrolling guard of the Sun family heard Sun Xiaonong's words and immediately ordered the other guards to call people. It didn't take long for Sun Yoli to come over. Sun Yukai also followed, but Sun Yumao and Chinifuo did not come. This made old man Sun a little annoyed. Why, Chinifuo is just in charge of some family business on the first day and you are so arrogant. Why didn't Chinifuo and Yumao come? Old man Sun asked with a cold snort. However, at this time a guard ran over in a panic and shouted, Master Sun, it's not good. Chinifuo he. What happened to Chinifuo? He didn't come? Sun Xiaonong said angrily. No, Chinifuo he is dead. The guard gasped for breath and said, Miss Yume is crying? Old Master Sun, you, go and take a look. What? Chinifuo is dead? How did he die? Sun Xiaonong was suddenly stunned. Chinifuo was fine. How did he die? Sun Yuming and Sun Yoli were also stunned. Even Medicine Master Sun was extremely surprised. However, this guard wouldn't talk nonsense. Sun Xiaonong quickly walked to Sun Youmao's villa. Just as he walked to the front of the villa, he heard Sun Youmao's ghostly cries. Sun Xiaonong frowned, pushed the door and walked in. Chapter 244. When he found the room where Sun Yumao was, he saw that Sun Yumao was only covered with a thin quilt at this moment. Obviously he was not wearing any clothes inside, while Chen Iofo was lying on the bed naked, motionless. His lower body was a mess with a large pile of red and white which was very horrible. Sun Yumao didn't need to say anything. The rest of the Sun family knew how Chen Iofo died. Wind on horseback. It was really wind on horseback again. 1 death was an accident, 2 deaths were a coincidence, 3 deaths. What was that? Everyone in the Sun family, including Sun Ruo, felt a chill as if they had fallen into an ice cellar. 3. Was it still a coincidence? Even a stupid person would think that there was something wrong with this. Yumao, what happened? Sun Xiaonong took a deep breath and asked. That. Isn't it because Iofo was finally put in an important position by the family? He also did 2 big things today. I was happy and planned to reward him tonight, so I made a full set. But when I was making it, who would have thought that he lost his virginity and he lost his virginity? Sun Yumao said while crying. Sun Xiaonong really didn't know what to say and he couldn't say anything. Was this a coincidence? He felt that it wasn't. Did Iofo meet Qin Jinping today? No, I didn't hear him say that. Sun Yumao shook his head. Check it out. Get the footage from his car recorder and see where he went today. See if he met Qin Jinping. Sun Xiaonong took a deep breath and ordered Sun Yoli, Yoli, you are in charge of this matter. Yes. Sun Yoli also wanted to find out the truth as soon as possible. Wasn't this too scary? The Sun family inexplicably died one by one from wind on horseback. Wasn't this making people sleepless? Who knew who would be the next one? After Sun Yoli went out, Sun Xiaonong said to Medicine Master Sun, Yukai, take a look at Iofo's situation. Was it natural or was it done by someone? Think about it. Is it possible to cause someone to die from wind on horseback? Based on my many years of experience as a pharmacist, it's possible to kill a person from a gust of wind on a horse. However, the person performing the technique must be present to seal the acupuncture points. Pharmacist Sun walked toward Chen Iotafor as he spoke. He was ready to do a checkup. Is there no other way? For example, poisoning? Sun Xiaonong thought for a moment and asked. Poisoning is also unlikely. As far as I know, there is no such poison that can create such an effect. If poison could create such an effect, the method would have been spread long ago. Besides, other than our family, I have rarely heard of anyone dying like this. Medicine Master Sun shook his head. After checking Chen Iotafor's condition, he said, there's no problem. From the current situation, it should really be an accident and a coincidence. This isn't quite possible, right? Sun Xiaonong couldn't believe it. To be honest, I don't believe it either, but based on the current situation, uncle, he really died from an accident on horseback, Medicine Master Sun said with certainty. Unless there's some unknown method involved. All right. Sun Xiaonong took a deep breath and said, next you can treat Mingyu. As for the Iotafor, that's it. At this moment, Sun Xiaonong seemed to be a lot more haggard. Even Medicine Master Sun couldn't see the problem. How clever was the person who did it? Now, Old Man Sun was sure that someone must have done something to him. Sun Rongjin was an accident and Sun Rongqin was a coincidence. Perhaps the 2 brothers had some invisible family hereditary disease. But now, Chen Iotafor was an outsider. How could he die immediately? Previously, Old Man Sun had executed Xiao Li and the 2 young models. Now, Chen Iotafor had died because of his daughter. He couldn't possibly kill his daughter to vent his anger, right? Therefore, Old Man Sun couldn't vent his anger in his chest, and he was also very worried. Although he was old, he usually practiced martial arts. Even though he wouldn't have much success at this age, his need for convenience still hadn't declined. Usually, he liked to secretly have a young model and so on. But from now on, how could he dare to do that? Wasn't he just waiting to die? Who knew if he would also die from the wind on the horse? Sun Yoming's injury wasn't particularly serious. After Sun Yukai treated him, there were no more problems. Most of the force from Brother Hey Crazy's kick was removed by Sun family's bodyguard Lu. Although he was in pain, it was actually because the part that was attacked was too weak. In the Sun family's conference room, the atmosphere was hazy. Sun Xiaonong looked at the people present. In a short period of time, Sun Rongjin, Sun Rongqin, and Chen Iotafor were dead. Who would be next? Okay, everyone analyze it. I don't think the wind on the horse is an accident. It seems to be a conspiracy against our Sun family. Sun Xiaonong said, but our family didn't offend the Qin family before. The only conflict was between Rongjin and Xiao Qin. Xiao Qin didn't say anything. Why did Qin Jinping show off? From what Big Brother said, although Qin Jinping is suspicious, what he said was most likely said out of anger. It might not be taken seriously. Sun Yoli said, moreover, with Qin Jinping's ability, I don't think he has such means. If he had such means, why would he be someone's follower? If you were so powerful, do you think you would be someone's follower? I don't think it's possible either. Pharmacist Sun nodded and said, if someone with such means goes to the warrior guild, his status will definitely not be lower than mine. I still think it's very likely that it's Qin Jinping. Didn't you see how arrogant he was at that time? If he didn't have someone to rely on, would he act like that? Sun Yukai said. After Qin Jinping returned home, he told Qin Huanling and Qin Wuxian about what happened today. Bang! Qin Wuxian slammed the table. He was furious. What's wrong with the Sun family? Just because of such a small matter they want to assassinate you? Do they want our Qin family to have no descendants? Father, I also think that the Sun family has gone too far. I heard that they have been infiltrating the Warriors Market's medicinal herb business. I didn't pay much attention to it, but now it seems that I have to use some means. Qin Huanling said angrily. The third generation of the Qin family only had Qin Jinping. If something went wrong, the Qin family would be finished. It was unrealistic to let Qin Zhantian and Qin Huanling have another child. Well, you start from there. I will also contact the Chao family. When the time comes, we will unite and teach the Sun family a lesson. Qin Wuxian sneered. They are just a small business family. Do they really think that they are powerful enough to replace the Xie family? After that, Qin Wuxian was ready to call the Chao family to discuss the matter. Qin Jinping went ahead to inform Chao Yuliang. If the Qin family and the Chao family united, the Sun family would have to kneel down no matter how powerful they were. Xiao Qin didn't know that so many things had happened that night. The next morning he went to Tang Tang's home to see her. Because she was sick, there was no need to go to the stall. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.